Okay, on to you then, Eddie. We're on to number 3 now.
We are. Number 3 for me is Midnight in Paris.
Okay.
So Midnight in Paris is a Woody Allen film.
Sam confirms that. It is definitely Woody Allen.
Okay, I'm glad I got that right.
Yeah.
Woody Allen film. It's essentially a love letter to 1920s Paris.
Mm-hmm.
It is about a writer played by Owen Wilson who's kind of obsessed with that being the golden age.
Yeah.
It's in Paris. He's Rachel McAdams, and they're a couple, and it's not the best relationship, but they're there with her parents. Things are sort of not going well, and one evening, having met some friends, friends of hers rather than his.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely not his friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He ends up going for a walk, and as the stroke.
He has a stroke.
He has a stroke. As the clock strikes midnight, an old sort of fashioned car rolls up, and he is transported to the 1920s.
Yes, where he rubs elbows with Ernest Hemingway and Gertrude Stein,
the famous
Scott
Fitzgerald,
Cole Porter,
yeah. All of whom were
Picasso,
kind of when Paris was like a hub of kind of, what's the right word?
Art and culture.
Yeah, where everyone went to write and went to paint.
Yeah,
and, what's the incubator? When it was an incubator, that sort of stuff.
Yes, it's a Woody Allen film, so you get bigger names playing slightly smaller roles. Tom Hiddleston's in it for 10 minutes.
I think that was the first thing I ever saw him in.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Midnight in Paris.
Did that set your expectations or set your opinion of him?
No, I like him in. It's the only thing I like him in.
Okay.
I like him in The Night Manager as well.
I don't.
Okay.
All right.
I haven't seen that, so I can't comment.
Yeah.
Okay, but yes, so like he's in it. There's music by Cole Porter. Which again, music. I will bring it back. it literally, but it does. It sounds dumb, but it is a thing.
Anyone playing Eddie Bingo at home, tick up your boxes now.
That you so could. It'd be so easy.
What would be on Eddie Bingo? Music,
definitely.
What
making him want to be a writer?
Yes.
Yeah. Again, that ticks this box.
Yeah. Oh yes, because it's
yeah.
literally about a writer.
Yeah,
isn't it?
No, but it
we
did
talked about in
because
the last podcast how a lot of your choices are about the world of writing in a way.
It's something creative
Would
anyway.
Would that be covered by making him want to write? That it's occupying that world.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what motivates you partly, right?
Or would it be the same? Would it be a different square on Eddie Bingo?
Oh, I see, a different square.
Okay,
different square.
So it's weird because of all the films in my top 10, I saw this one for the first time, in whole anyway.
Yeah.
First time in November.
Oh, really?
Oh, this November just gone.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Because I saw Midnight in Paris when it was released, and I hadn't rewatched it until December. Yeah.
I can't remember who recommended it to me, but someone went, "I think you'll like this."
Okay.
Well, clearly they were right.
Yes, massively right.
Yeah.
So I watched it for the first time with my mother, and we sat down, and I was like, okay, this has been recommended to me. I'm not kind of sure, but yeah, I was completely engrossed for the entire time that we watched it, and I came away, and I don't imagine probably quite on the same level for you as Parasite, but I didn't stop thinking about it.
Okay.
I really like. To the point that when it's come back to anything I've rewatched, it's probably by far what I've rewatched the most. It's for me, there's something about the performance in it. I think it's the best thing Owen Wilson's ever done.
Yes.
Rachel McAdams, she's fairly good in it. Kathy Bates is alright.
Corey Stoll is the standout for me.
Yeah.
The guy who plays Hemingway.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I saw him in as well.
I really like the small part Adrian Brody plays.
Plays Picasso, doesn't he?
No,
Dali.
Sorry,
Because
it's just him going, Dali.
Yeah, that's right.
And I just...
Yeah, it's kind of... all the writers are kind of caricatures. Like deliberately. Like F. Scott Fitzgerald, it's all sort of...
My boy.
He's dapper and my boy, and that sort of Alabama kind of thing.
Yes.
And then You've got Hemingway, who was always just challenging people to fights.
Yes.
A man is only a real man.
Yeah.
When, you know,
Again, there was something about it that made me want to write, and I think part of that was it was a film that involved time travel.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't explain it, how the fuck it works.
Okay.
The way but because it doesn't, and the way it comes across, I really like that.
Yeah, this sort of handles time travel the way a story like this should handle time travel, which is that it doesn't question it because it's not important to. Like Owen Wilson doesn't care how he can travel back in time. He just cares that he can.
He cares that he can. You know.
Yeah,
that is obviously the key.
It's sort of plausible as well because you find out that it's not just Owen Wilson that can do this.
No.
Potentially anyone could travel back in time. And then you find out at the very end that he could travel further back in time as well. Yes. But there's very, it's not confusing. There's very clear conditions that have to be fulfilled. There's a comparison I want to make very briefly, actually, to a film called Colossal. Have either of you seen Colossal?
I have.
Okay. It's a film starring Anne Hathaway, also, as she also plays a writer, funnily enough.
Oh, probably like this one?
Well, it's an odd one.
It's an oddball.
Yeah.
Basically, the premise is she finds out that if she goes to a specific location at a specific time, a kaiju appears on the other side of the world, mimicking her every movement. Eddie's making a face.
I'm going to give this a watch.
Okay.
She's an alcoholic, right?
She's an alcoholic, yeah. She kind of
Definitely giving this a watch.
Or she's a writer.
Yes, she's a writer, exactly, yeah. But yeah, so that is that film's version of time travel. Because they both kind of feed into the major flaw of that character, don't they? Because Owen Wilson is kind of stuck in the past.
He's a nostalgic.
He's nostalgic, so he can literally travel to the past, whereas Anne Hathaway has these very destructive habits, and therefore she can sort of become this creature that is the embodiment of destruction, almost. But what Colossal, I think, does wrong, which Midnight in Paris does right, is it explains how the kaiju thing works.
Oh, okay.
Which is wrong, A, because it literalizes the kaiju. Yeah. Because up until that moment, you, as an audience member, you're sort of suspending your disbelief, where you're going okay, the kaiju thing isn't really real, in the same way that the time travel isn't really real. It's happening.
A metaphor.
Yeah, it's happening, but in reality, it's a metaphor. By explaining it, you've literalized the kaiju. So now you're asking questions like, okay, how does that work?
Yeah.
And also the explanation they give, it begs more questions.
Yeah.
An inch of context is a yard of questions.
Exactly.
That's a good fucking quote.
Yeah.
Great play, Sam.
Sorry, that's
you
going,
can take that out.
That's going over black screen at the beginning of this podcast.
Fair play. Right, fair play.
But yeah, it doesn't help that explanation is it doesn't clear things up because it still requires you to suspend your disbelief. It's just sort of complicating the thing that you have to ignore, you know?
Yeah.
Midnight in Paris doesn't do that.
No, and it doesn't do the loop Austin Powers. To be fair, in Austin Powers, it is kind of, it's a joke.
Yeah.
But in Looper, they have the thing of well, how are you? And he's like, just don't think about that.
Yeah, they don't even have the
don't
think about the time. They just literally never address it.
I've come to dislike that in time travel films, where they go...
It's a cliche at this point.
It is a cliche. It's I ignore it. I accept it's a time travel movie. It doesn't matter. Yeah, because what is it in Austin Powers? It's he starts asking questions I suggest you don't worry about it and just have a good time.
Yeah, and then he looks
at the cameras and I suggest you do the same.
Yeah.
It's funny in that. It's good. But it's that is the conceit in Midnight in Paris. That is the concept, and that's it.
Yeah, because it's important to tell the story he's trying to tell, but it's not important to the story, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the mechanics of it aren't important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they just don't do it, and that's completely the way you should go about it.
I wonder if Woody Allen ever saw Goodnight Sweetheart.
Do you know, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
The thing is, as I say, I can't remember who recommended it to me, but one of the reasons they recommended it to me is I'm a big fan of the TV show.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of the TV show.
Yeah.
The cliche in me.
Go on.
There's he has a thing where he talks about Paris in the rain, and wanting to go to Paris to write. Not necessarily Paris itself, but I do places like Paris. I would like to go and write.
Okay.
And as we it is the stereotypical cliche writer thing to go.
Yeah.
That was part of it why it's the golden age as he says. There is one thing I do fundamentally agree. Paris in the summer in the rain I genuinely think is quite beautiful.
Okay.
And I couldn't tell you why.
Yeah. I mean, the only time I've ever been to Paris was on a school trip, like when I was in primary school. So I don't really remember how I felt about Paris. It was just the fact that I was like on a school trip, you know. But this film clearly is in love with Paris because its protagonist is in love with Paris.
Yeah.
But I think, much like its protagonist, it's a little too in love with Paris for my liking. Those beauty shots at the beginning of the film are completely unnecessary, I think.
I don't know. I would disagree.
I know exactly why the film is doing it, but it's way too much.
Okay, I don't know.
It's like 3 minutes of... It's just like 3 minutes of those shots.
I really like the shots, though.
No, that's the thing. Like you know, they're good, like, travelogue shots. And that's definitely what they are. It's like tourism footage. But you have those, like, 3 or 4 minutes. Then you have credits over black.
Right.
And then the film starts. And I feel like, especially since the first actual shot of the film is they mimic the water lily painting, that famous painting of like the bridge over the water lily lake. I feel like that image alone completely sums up the attitudes filmed towards Paris.
Yeah, well, yes, but I think the opening might be a kind of callback to Manhattan in a way.
Okay.
Which is when they're playing Rhapsody in Blue. over the opening. Of that. And obviously, the difference with Manhattan is...
That was my assumption.
Yeah, like the difference being that he knows Manhattan.
Yes.
Like, that's not a tourist's view of...
Yeah.
Woody Allen is obsessed with New York. Like, not just lives there, loves New York.
Yeah.
And, his character is obsessed with Paris, so they were kind of evoking a similar...
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's the obvious stuff with Paris, though, as well, isn't it? It's the Eiffel Tower, it's the Arc de Triomphe.
But don't you think that the narrative of the film kind of... it's about pricking that touristy.
A little bit, like the end certainly, but that's kind of at the end, you know.
Yeah, but like, how do you start a film about a character who romanticizes Paris? You romanticize it. You show the touristy stuff.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and if you're going to romanticize Paris, you're going to think about the Eiffel Tower. Those are the places that are just going to come to mind.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the film is wrong for doing it. I just think it's an unnecessary excess.
Okay.
Could you not at least have put the credits over that footage?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. Yeah.
If you have to have that footage, if the water lily just doesn't do it for you, can't you just put the credits over?
That's fair enough. But Woody Allen doesn't. Every Woody Allen film has the same credits.
No, I know. But
yeah, no, and he is unapologetic for it.
Yes. Yeah. And in that respect, it's kind of nice that a filmmaker is sort of unapologetic about things like that. But for me, it was
as long as it remains within the realm of cinema.
Yes. Yeah.
I would say.
Yes, but
the only thing he probably does apologise for.
There's an old Jewish joke. A guy fucks his stepdaughter.
I am that joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you two finish talking about what you want to say about the film, and then I'll jump in.
Oh, okay. I don't dispute that all of these people would have been in Paris around that time. That also feels like a bit much to me. Like the scene where he meets Salvador Dali. At that moment, I was kind of like, okay, you're pushing your luck a bit now.
But it's how much you're buying into this is not real. This is kind of an idealized vision of what it would have been.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of the same problem as Assassin's Creed in a sense because
okay.
No, because when Assassin's Creed started doing, I think it was 2 was the first one to properly do it, where Leonardo da Vinci is a primary supporting character. He's sort of like Ezio's best friend in that game, and the precedent that set is that every Assassin's Creed game had to there had to be famous people from that era present in the game.
All of them do that. The first one does that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Maybe it's just because I don't know much of that period. Yeah. But when you get to a point where like the 10th Assassin's Creed game is out and it's set in like, you know, ancient Greece, and you've got all of these like Greek, you know, legends, and when you're
I don't know, because like that's part of the tapestry of that. We're reviewing Assassin's Creed now, but that's part of the tapestry of that universe, isn't it? Like,
but that's the thing. Like in
assassins have been instrumental in the fabrics of society.
Yeah, I understand.
Cities building it from the dirt.
I understand why it's there.
When
but
it goes back to Greeks and Egyptians, then it's because assassin is an Arabic word.
Yes,
they originated when the first game is set, which is like 1100. AD. Yeah. Don't go back further than that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when it starts getting fucking stupid.
Yeah. But yeah, like Leonardo da Vinci was like a main character. Like he was an important character to the story of Assassin's Creed 2. Charles Dickens is not important to Assassin's Creed 6.
I can't speak on behalf of any of those games.
No, but that's the point. Like at that point, it's just like, oh look, it's Charles Dickens.
Yeah,
Charles Dickens is here.
Yeah.
And that for me, like Dali was kind of the moment. It was like, oh look, it's Salvador Dali.
Right.
I know that like apart from Gertrude Stein and Ernest Hemingway, most of the people who do show up are basically just cameos. Because it's sort of like, oh look, it's Scott Fitzgerald. That was Scott Fitzgerald.
Yeah. And you see Zelda a couple of times.
Yeah. Like Dali, I distinctly remember Dali being the moment. It was like, okay, it's losing me now.
Okay.
In terms of like the amount of callbacks and people that it's
so I watched the film, as I say, with my mother, and the thing for like as we were watching it, as those callbacks were happening, was my mother turned around and she went, were they really all alive at the same time?
Yeah, that as well.
And that was the thing, is like, it is a past that he is going to, that he has dreamt of. It is the thing that he is, right, think, of course they were all going to be there.
Yeah.
So there is a point towards, obviously, for him, 1920s Paris is the golden age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For Marion Cotillard, it's the 18-whatever.
I think 1890s.
Maybe? Or 70s is what sprung to mind, but it could well be the 1890s.
Yeah, it's one of the two. But for her, that's the golden age.
Yeah.
And he gets to the point where he has this realization that whatever present you're in is going to get stale, and you're always going to romanticize the past period. And I don't know, there's something about, I do just really like that, that idea.
That's the moment where the film won me back. I wouldn't say that it had completely lost me, but that scene with Marion Cotillard and Owen Wilson sort of tries and fails to talk her into, like through kind of convincing her to come back with him, he sort of comes to terms with his own problems.
Yeah.
That was kind of the moment. Was like, oh, okay, yeah, I see what this film has done now, and I really like that it's gone in this direction.
Yeah. In terms of big criticism, I don't have loads. I really don't.
Okay. I've written down Michael Sheen can eat dicks until he dies.
Yeah, he's loathsome. Yeah.
Yeah, the character, I should say, not Michael Sheen himself.
No, Michael Sheen can do that. No. Michael Sheen is one thing. It's not like a proper wow.
Right.
But Owen Wilson's thing is always the wow.
Here's the thing.
And he gets one towards the end, and I was like,
Here's the thing with Owen Wilson. He is the only, apart from, what's her name, Gabrielle, Lea Seydoux character?
Yeah.
Apart from her, he's the only likable person in the present, right?
Yes.
Like, even Rachel McAdams is not very likable.
No, she's a bitch.
So you kind of have to like Owen Wilson for the film to work, I think. And I didn't always like Owen Wilson during this film. There were some moments where...
That's fair enough.
I mean, it's part of, like, his character and the journey he has to go on, but just how, like, sycophantic he is with the people he meets. Mm-hmm. It just gets irritating after a while for me. Could Woody Allen only afford one guitar song?
Probably.
That, like guitar, like, acoustic number plays, like, 8 or 9 times during the film.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. From what I know, and I said... I know bits, so I might not be completely right on this, but he was very selective with the music.
Okay.
So you hear the same Cole Porter song more than once.
Yeah.
That was intentional.
Okay.
So he was quite selective. So you may find he did it on purpose.
Okay. In that case, why? Why is he playing the same song 8 times?
Woody Allen.
Okay.
And I don't have a better excuse other than that.
Okay.
Samuel.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
You have thoughts, apparently.
I don't like it.
Do you not?
Okay.
I'm not going to lie. I did assume that was probably where this was going. So that's why I wanted to...
I liked it a lot when I first saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it in going on 10 years.
Yep.
It's not fair to say I don't like it. It's a decent film, and there are parts of it that I like. But overall, let me explain. I am not a fan of France. This is just a personal bias.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't like Paris. I don't like Frenchness. I'm sorry. It's not a xenophobic thing. I'm just not a fan of that milieu.
Okay.
And that's a French word.
That's ultimately why you don't like the French. It's because they've even adopted the words you have to use to describe why you dislike them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So there's that.
Or they created the words, I should say. They didn't adopt the word milieu. We adopted the
Yes,
word
we adopted it, yeah. There is one thing in it that I really like. And it's a line, and I wrote it down and just put next to it, yes. and that is when Hemingway says, so Owen Wilson says, would you mind reading my manuscript?
Yeah.
And Hemingway says, if it's bad, I'll hate it because it's bad writing. If it's good, I'll be envious and hate it all the more. You don't want the opinion of another writer. And I was like, yes.
Yes.
That is so fucking accurate.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
So I love that. And I like the simplicity of the film.
Yeah.
The simplicity of the concept. It's really easy to watch. It's not trying to be anything it's not, while still being very pretentious.
Okay.
So the reasons I don't like it, other than the fact I don't like France.
Okay.
I somewhat relate to nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, I just don't care about what's going on.
Okay.
I don't really like the character that much.
Okay.
Even though I do think Owen Wilson gives a decent performance.
Yeah.
I just think, okay, you know the big revelation you were talking about, that, I guess everyone's nostalgic for the time in which they don't exist.
Yeah.
Don't we know that? That doesn't seem like a revelation you should have when you're 40.
No, but
especially if you're a writer.
No, yeah.
I would say, but then again, at the same time,
yeah, surely, like if you're doing a story about nostalgia, that's like something you explore within that story. It's not something you learn as you're writing it. You know.
But I would say, then again, at the same time, you have the character he is playing.
Yeah.
Has the ability to write the fact that he writes characters where the two of them are clearly having an affair, and he doesn't spot. Like,
no, I know. Yeah, he's a bit witless.
Yes.
But I just think it's such an obvious... It's almost like a children's film resolution of like, oh, it turns out that we all, none of us are fond of the time we live in because it's the time we live in.
Yeah.
And we all... The grass is always greener, yeah. And I just feel it's a bit obvious for a major revelation.
Yeah.
And he says at the time, I'm having an insight. It's a minor one, but I think it's quite profound. Which I thought was justifying the simplicity of that moment.
Right, okay.
I thought they put that line in to kind of go, oh yeah, he says it's a minor, right? It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a Woody Allen facsimile, isn't he? Like, he
They
is...
always are, though.
They always are. There's a moment, I think, when they go back to the 18 whatevers, and Owen Wilson's like, oh, let's go back to the 20s, and Marion Cotillard is like, but it's the present, it's dull. I'm like, I get it. I get the theme. That line was way too on the nose for me.
Okay.
But it's the present. It's dull. It's like, if you're saying that, you're already aware of the danger of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of my big problems with it is that I think he should have ended up alone. Because I think it doesn't abide the Rocky rule.
Yes.
And that is, he loses nothing.
Yeah.
And he gains Léa Seydoux.
I was
not having it.
As you were sort of talking,
yeah,
because during Her you said, Joaquin Phoenix gets all of these like beautiful actresses. Yeah. Owen Wilson gets Léa Seydoux, he gets Marion Cotillard, and he gets Rachel McAdams. So yeah, I'm not happy with that.
And you wonder why I like this film.
I'm not saying I'm that that didn't even occur to me, but I kind of get it. He's with Rachel McAdams. Yes, she's obviously very attractive.
Yes,
but
but I can believe that.
I believe it, and a certain type of woman, believe it or not, is attracted to is mind probably.
Yeah,
I get that. That's fine.
Yeah,
Marion Cotillard, it's because he's an enigmatic. Ooh, you're not from around these.
Yes,
I get that.
Yeah,
but Léa Seydoux, it's the fact that he's like, oh no, it turns out that the grass is always greener. Oh, I'm just gonna go back to my time.
Yeah.
I'll lose my bitch of a wife.
Yeah.
And I'll go with Léa Seydoux. It just felt way too kind of...
Okay.
I do agree.
Easy.
Especially since Léa Seydoux is also kind of... Like, she actually runs a nostalgia shop.
She does. Yeah.
Exactly. So surely that would be... Thematically, that's taking a step backwards for him.
Personally...
Because he's in love with his protagonist, you know?
Yes.
I would have quite liked it if the two had just, seen each other and then just gone opposite ways. Or something like that.
Maybe. Or just there was kind of there was a friendliness between them, but it was clear that that's as far as it was ever going to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yes. So that was my big problem with it.
Yeah.
It's what's this guy lost?
Yeah.
But then again, at the same time, the man gets a girl, fair enough.
He does.
Yeah.
But I think my fundamental problem with it is probably just that divide. I don't I do somewhat relate to nostalgia, but I really don't relate to Parisian upset. I just don't like it.
Yes.
I don't care.
Okay.
So
No, I would say, to be fair, I'd say Paris is on my list of places I want to go and write. I have memories tied to holidays there.
Yeah.
I have certain things for nostalgia. So I think for me, there was lots of things I could bring context to or relate to in a certain way.
Yeah.
For me, and I think that's probably why.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. And like, I haven't taken against the film in the sense of it hasn't angered me or like I dislike it.
Yeah.
You know, with strenuously.
Yeah.
It's more when I first saw it, it was probably my favorite. It won the screenplay, didn't it? The Oscar screenplay.
Yeah.
The screenplay Oscar. And at the time, I probably would have thought it was my favorite screenplay of the year as well.
Mm.
And going back to it now, it just seems very twee in comparison to my memory of it.
Okay.
It felt like quite a big film before. And now when I go back to it, it just seems very, like, unvital. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
It feels like something you'd pick up in a curiosity shop. Like, oh, what's this?
Okay.
It feels like a little nostalgia
I was
trinket.
going to say, I mean, okay, when I picked up a copy initially for 50p.
Right.
Yes.
So.
Although, you know, I'm not, you know, your fandom is your fandom.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it just...
But your choice sucks, Eddie, as we've just proved.
No, I think it's... out of all the films that I rewatched, it was the one that probably went down lowest in my estimations.
So it's your Birdman, then?
Well, no, because it was never on my list.
No, Eddie said the Birdman went down. You said Birdman went down.
Yeah, Birdman's went down lowest.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, then I would say Midnight in Paris was mine.
Okay.
Fair.
Okay,
we're on to me now. My number 3 of the decade is Whiplash.
Whiplash.
Aye.
We can't talk about Whiplash yet.
We still can't
talk about Whiplash.
Well, you obviously now know it's on all of our lists. It's the only film that's on everyone's list.
Well, you gave that away slightly because maybe my number 2 or someone else's number 2 could have been on someone else's list.
What?
We can't talk about Whiplash yet. That's the takeaway.
Basically.
Sam, what's your number 3?
My number 3, I don't know. What's my number 3? My number 3 is Spotlight.
Oh,
okay. You just... Any film that's difficult.
No, it's just that we're really getting into the heavy hitters now, aren't we? We really have to be switched on for these conversations.
Let's break down let's break the fourth wall. We started recording at what time?
About 9 o'clock.
It's now a 1:45
in
the morning.
Yeah, we've had a couple of issues with Sam's mic that we've had, so we've had to stop. And also, we just keep having things to say.
Yeah, like bastards. And we're very mindful this is going to go on probably till about 5 o'clock. So
I'm in work at 6 a.m.
Yes, Eddie's not sleeping tonight.
And I have been awake since 2 a.m. yesterday.
Okay.
So Spotlight.
So we're 24 hours. Woo!
Yeah, you're going to die.
Caffeine.
Okay.
Right, Eddie. This was on your list as well.
It is indeed on my list.
What number is it for you?
I
think it was 8, right?
I think it's 8.
I'm going to say 8. I'm correct, but I'll wait for Eddie to clarify.
Look, don't be a know-it-all, you little prick.
Little.
I dropped something in utter disgust.
Hey, it's like a compliment and an insult at the same time.
Oh yeah, they cancel each other out, yeah. No, I feel great right now.
So the onus is on me to do the plot of Spotlight, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Spotlight is about a team at the Boston Globe, I think 2001 to 2002.
I believe so, yeah.
That uncovered the systematic abuse of children by Catholic priests in Boston, and then extrapolating that to, well, globally.
Yeah.
It's a procedural, an investigative procedural. It's very similar to All the President's Men, which is about the Watergate scandal.
Mm-hmm.
So the film is basically about just the team of 4-5 journalists trying to uncover the truth, basically.
Yeah.
Eddie, why do you like Spotlight?
Why do I like Spotlight? Yeah. See, so Spotlight... Sorry, I've just spilled hot tea down on myself.
Down your crotch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it'll keep you awake at least, won't it?
Yeah, I've got burning genitals.
Yeah.
So Spotlight for me was a later. It was one of the last.
Okay.
To make the list because I really ummed and ahed because it's not particularly a film that I would say I rewatch like the others, which is one of the reasons why it's lower down in my list than obviously it is on yours, because it doesn't quite have that rewatchability for it.
Okay.
But that being said, I was looking at films that I might include on the list, and I couldn't argue that they were a better film than Spotlight.
Okay.
It's a fantastically well done film, based on a true story. Quite, when you look at it, quite harrowing. It
is. The film isn't though. I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's like quite light, but in generally speaking,
it's professional.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very well acted.
It is. Yeah.
For me, I always highlight Mark Ruffalo's moment.
Yeah, that's the closest the film ever gets to showboating or melodrama, really.
Yes.
It doesn't. It is pretty much the best moment in the film, I think.
Yeah. And because it's just the way he delivers the line to Michael Keaton.
That gets me crying.
Yeah.
Like his passion, it happened. They let it happen to kids. That bit always gets me.
Yeah.
I'm crying. Stop it. Fucking hell. You generally got emotional. Oh, I'm tired.
Yeah, I was gonna say those are tears of exhaustion. We'll write them off as tears of exhaustion.
Also, you get an insight into obviously a little bit of their lives. You find out about the fact that Robbie obviously helped cover it up to an extent at one point.
Yeah, it's kind of complicit, but basically by thinking it just wasn't a big deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you get the scene, I can't remember the character or the actor's name, where he discovers, I can't think of a way of saying this without sounding stupid. Where
we'll say it's stupid and then we can...
A place where they send popes when they gone bad.
Say that again?
A place they send popes when they gone bad.
Oh, right, okay. Like to a rehabilitation centre.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the only thing in my head was when popes done wrong.
I'm sure there's a euphemism that they use in the film, but essentially it's rehab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, as the investigation goes on, you find out that there are different code words for, on sick leave, that kind of thing.
Yes, yeah.
And he discovers that one of these rehabilitation places is literally just down the road from him.
Yeah, the actor is Brian Darcy James. He's a Broadway guy.
Okay.
Spotlight, I think, was one of his first films.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, I love procedurals. I love journalism stories. It's, it's a story of journalism done right.
Yeah.
Especially in today's age of journalism where everything has just gone completely... Everything is black or white. It's partisan, or it's kind of the extremes of both ends of the continuum. It's nice to see just... the actual necessity of journalism when it was actually, philanthropic. And not just about selling papers or now getting people reading your...
Yeah.
So I like that, obviously. I love the look of it. I love... I'm big on kind of tangible material. And I like paper. I like books. I like files.
Yeah.
I like offices.
Yeah.
Writing. I'm big on that sort of stuff. Whenever you see sequences in films where... like montages where they're doing something very methodically. There's something innately satisfying about that. And I think that there's a lot of that in Spotlight about collating data, and they've got to go in the basement and find an old folder.
Yeah.
I like the idea of journalism being on papers.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, it's kind of horrible to think now, but it is true. Like, it's set in 2001. I know this film came out in 2015, but it's a period film.
It is,
in the same way that like a film set in the 90s or the 80s is a period film.
Yeah.
It feels like a different time almost. It's not just it's basically set in modern day, but the type of phones they use is slightly older. It's like, oh no, it's a different time. It is paper and all that sort of stuff.
I think one of the things for me, there is a personal level for me,
right?
In that my grandfather was a Methodist minister,
right?
My gran was, in church multiple times of the week, and so there was a part of me, obviously, not necessarily the right kind of church per se, but there was a part of me that was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it does seem to be a distinctly Catholic phenomenon, not unique to Catholicism, but it's definitely
the scale of it.
The scale of it. What the psychiatrist they talk to, what he calls it, a recognizable psychological phenomenon, I think.
Yeah.
The priests do this stuff. Oh, we can talk about why we think that's the case, but it's sort of distracting from the point, really. I love the score. There's the opening scene that ends with, I don't know if you remember it, George. The music cue at the end of it. It's very just like, and now we're in the film.
I don't remember it.
I'm not sure who the composer is, but it's a great score.
Okay.
It abides this. It might have been McKee. There's a screenwriting guru who wrote a book, and his big thing was when you start a film, you have to put the idea of your film in the first scene. It has to be expressed. So famously, it's in Chinatown, but maybe our listeners will be more familiar with Hot Fuzz, which is in the first scene. Nicholas Angel says to his boss, with all due respect, sir, you can't just make people disappear. And that's sort of the theme of that film.
Yeah.
They do that in Spotlight, basically, where they're all... someone is leaving, a journalist is leaving the paper, they're all having like a farewell celebration, and then Robbie turns to him and he says, we got a new editor coming in next week and you're leaving, so I just gotta ask, what the hell do you know?
Yeah.
That's the question of the film, is like, that everyone knew about this.
Okay.
But what do you know? And then the guy literally like puts a finger up to his lips like,
Yeah.
I love I love stuff like that. It's a very, very professional film.
Yep.
Like I said, it avoids melodrama.
Yeah.
Except it skirts it very briefly in that moment.
Yes.
There are no frills visually either. It's a very simply shot film.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think rightly so. Any style would just detract from its point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the tightest scripts in modern memory.
Yeah. I would agree.
It never ever distracts from the point.
No.
It does the thing that all good screenplays do, which is every scene should either advance plot or deepen character.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like I said, it's not really about the journalists, really. There's some stuff from their personal lives, but it's about this mission,
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's nice because because you are spending time with these characters, the film kind of allows for them to be characters a little bit,
Yes.
They're not just... It's not like Shin Godzilla or like, a film like that where it is procedural and it's about the events that are happening. But because of that, no characters prevail.
Right.
Everyone is just kind of like serving a function in the machinery of like dealing with this event.
Yeah.
But no, like the people on the team, they all, like you said, obviously, not Mark Rylance, Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
His like big moments. Like the fact that a film like this will allow a character to have a moment like that.
Yeah, and you do get a sense of their characters.
Yes.
Like Michael Keaton he's the leader of the team, and he's kind of quietly kind of like a bit. He's the most resistant of them. Like he's not this dogged journalist pursuing the truth. He's a bit more like, let's get our facts straight before we like take it up the ladder.
But I think that's when we talk about the Mark Ruffalo scene.
Yeah,
the response from him of
that's the thing. It deflates you almost because like we're going to grandstand a bit.
Yeah.
And the film is so professional that it allows you one moment where you're like getting on your high horse.
Yeah.
And he just goes, "You finished?" And it's, I love that. The fact it deflates you a bit doesn't detract from the scene.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, when you talk about like performances, the scene in which Rachel McAdams visits one of the priests who did it, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, I did it."
It's just so like, well, this is a matter of fact.
And then he's like, "But I didn't get any pleasure from this."
Yeah, but he's so blasé about it.
Yeah.
Well, because he says, doesn't he? He says, "Well, yeah, I was, but I didn't do it to be like unkind."
Yeah.
He says, "What were you talking about?" He says, "Well, I was molested too."
Yeah.
I think that's just in there to give you a sense of it's a cycle,
Yeah.
But yeah.
But no, it's a very strange feeling that scene gives me. I don't know about you guys. It's not like horrible. It's not harrowing. It's just kind of like,
it was creepy. It's a bit creepy.
But you're just kind of in shock.
He looks creepy. I'm sorry.
No, he does.
Yeah.
Like, whoever you are, actor, you look a bit creepy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, he does. He does. They cast well there.
But but then obviously you've got in the same scene, like towards the end, obviously the like sister or whatever it is comes out, and it's like, no, come inside. Don't come back here.
Yeah, like the closest thing the film has to a villain is Cardinal Law, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not a villain, and again, the film is way too professional to lower itself to that sort of thing. And again, it's almost like a rejection of that. Like when Ruffalo, who does embody like he's passionate about it, He's the one who's going to break the rules to kind of get to the truth. He says to Michael Keaton, Robbie, we're going after Law. This gets Law, and he's like, no, we're going after the system.
Yeah.
There's no villain here. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Even though there are individual villains, obviously.
Yeah.
And I love, again, it's such a professional film. In the scene where Liev Schreiber, who plays the new editor, who I think is the unsung hero of the film, I think he's great in the film.
Okay.
He is magnificent, I will agree.
When he goes to visit, because he's Jewish, and he's invited to go visit Cardinal Law in his house, and Cardinal Law gifts him the Catechism of the Catholic Church, this complete passive aggressive, like you're on my turf now, buddy.
Yeah.
You know? It's great, little things like that. And yeah, so Liev Schreiber, he just has this quiet dignity about him. The fact that he comes in from the outside, I think he was in Miami, and he comes in from the outside, and it's almost like he kind of knows. It's sort of like he's this omniscient figure almost that kind of comes in and says, right, I read this one little story about a priest who was accused of molestation. Are we doing anything about that? And he just sort of sits back and lets them do their thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
But one of the things I love most about the film is Stanley Tucci says it to Mark Ruffalo's character. He says, you know, I'm Armenian. I can't remember what ethnicity Mark Ruffalo is. He says, but, you know, people around here, they don't like outsiders. It takes an outsider to get to the truth. And I just love that idea because that's what Liev Schreiber is.
Yeah.
He's coming in, he's an outsider. You know, a meddling outsider, basically.
Yeah, well, and because the other, I don't know the name of the actor, but the person that Michael Keaton's character reports to.
Oh, John Slattery.
Yeah. He definitely doesn't want to tell that story.
I think it's denial for him, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, I really don't want to be, you know, I don't want to reveal that everyone's been sitting on this secret for the past 100 years. You know, like, yeah. No, he's eventually won over.
Yes, of course he is.
Yeah. There's one weird moment in the film where Mark Ruffalo's talking to Richard Sipe, who's a psychiatrist, on the phone, and then he says to him like, "Oh, I think it'd be this many priests or something like that." He goes, "Oh, that's big. Hello," and he's kind of cut off.
Yeah.
And then John Slattery knocks on the door. I always felt that was a weird moment. Like, what were they trying to do there? Like, in any other film, this should be suggesting that
why is
the church has like cut him off or something.
Yeah,
like that,
well, why has John Slattery gone into that office? I don't remember.
This is at his house, Mark Ruffalo's house.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He goes over there he says, I was having dinner in the area, here's some scraps.
Yeah.
And basically just asks him how the case is going.
Right, okay.
How the story is progressing. But yeah, that's just a weird little moment.
Yeah.
I have one minor critique, and that is, it's tiny.
Okay.
In the film, you've pointed this out before, George, there's basically a church in every shot, because there are so many churches in Boston.
Yep.
And there's one scene where Rachel McAdams is talking to a victim, and they go for a walk, because he doesn't want to discuss it, in front of people in a coffee shop. So they're walking, and then they sit in a playground, and then there's a church right next to the playground.
Yeah.
And he says to her, and of course, there's a church there, and a playground, as they're talking about this.
Yeah.
I'm like, didn't need to say it. Because the shot, it cuts to a wide of the playground and the church. Like, that would have done it for me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because
other than that, I think it's basically a perfect film.
Yeah, because that's a detail of the film I really like, and from what I understand, it was completely by accident.
Completely by accident. It's like you can't shoot streets without having a church.
Yeah, exactly. Boston there are so many churches in Boston that like there was always going to be churches in the background.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I think that like it makes it sort of pushes it that a little bit further. The fact that it's completely accidental.
Yes.
It's like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, it just supports.
It supports everything the film is saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a harrowing film. As you say, it's very professional.
Yeah.
It's very, not indifferent, but it's sort of like
no.
objective. Like, we're just like, I can't imagine, they're obviously going to be taking creative licenses in some regards, just so this is it has a film structure.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine it deviated too strongly from the actual events of this investigation.
I'm not saying it's recent enough that it wouldn't have been muddied by history.
No, exactly.
No.
But as you say, it's not harrowing. But when they list at the end of the film, where they list all of the places where this activity still happened, and they basically list everywhere ever. Remember like earlier in the film where they were freaked out by the prospect that there were 90 priests involved?
Yeah.
And that was considered like, oh shit, this is big?
Yeah.
Wasn't it
90 countries?
Wasn't it like 14 priests to begin with or something like that?
Well, it's just a few at first.
Yeah.
And then they notice, there's a system where they put sick leave in the annual reports of where priests are, and it's clearly a euphemism.
Yeah.
And I think
and then they realise there's more than one euphemism.
Well, the psychiatrist says to them, like roughly X amount percentage of all priests, and like, well, that would make 90 in Boston. And then when they do they compile that list.
It's 87.
It's basically, it's 87,
Yeah.
And it turns out that is accurate. It's insane, It is insane. But it holds a torch to honest to God, altruistic, necessary reporting. And I think it's a shame that is a period piece.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course I brought this anecdote up before, but Spotlight was released in the UK around the same time that Deadpool was released.
Yeah.
And there were queues running out of the cinema to see Deadpool, and like no one went to see Spotlight.
But we did.
We walked out of the cinema having seen the film and that list at the end, and you just see like the sheer volume of people who were going to see Deadpool, of which Eddie was included. I can see you making that face.
It is more.
You'd be in a different queue now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, they've obviously imposed a film structure on it to some degree. But when we talk about the avoidance of melodrama, there's another sequence where Ruffalo, who again I feel like embodies the audience and like occasionally just gets a bit hot-headed about it.
Yeah.
And kind of says, John Slattery says, like, how come no one was talking about this then? It can't be true.
Yeah.
And he says, good Germans.
Yes.
And then Slattery, which is like, yeah, you're going, yeah, fuck, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then John Slattery says, I don't think that's a comparison you want to make publicly.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, if the fair play, the film will not let itself sink into easy melodrama.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, exactly.
And like the massive resolution at the end of the film is they publish the story, and then they say like, oh, call us if you have any stories about this. And the phone just starts going off in the office.
Yeah.
And then all the phones start going off.
Yes.
That's the big payoff.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
It's the third best film of the decade.
Go see it.
I feel I have nothing else to say about it.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Not because there's less to say about the film, or the film is not worthy of having more to say, just like...
No, I think the fact that it's procedural makes it a bit difficult to talk about individual... The film is
it's a unit,
to be taken in its
it?
entirety.
Yeah, it's a unit.
Yeah.
Number two. And me. Okay, so my number 2 is Sing Street. So,
and number 2 it is. No, it's not. It's good. It's very good. It's very good. It's very good.
Oh, that was not on sound. I know it's late, but come on.
It's not that shit. Fucking hell.
It's not that shit.
No. So, yeah. So, number 2 for me, Sing Street. It sums it up.
You just can't stand the way that I walked out from the wreckage. Sorry.
Rhythm of the model. Sorry, go on, Eddie. This will all make sense when we actually get Eddie to talk about the film.
Yeah, I mean, it sums it up in its own kind of like little advert on the poster. It is a coming-of-age film. Boy meets girl, girl unimpressed, boy starts band.
Yeah.
It's set in Ireland during, it's the 80s, isn't it? It's the 80s.
Yeah. During that very Irish time in Ireland.
So, you know...
That was supposed to be a joke. That doesn't mean anything.
No, I don't get it. That's why I didn't laugh. I was like, I'll smirk.
Yeah.
To pretend I know what he's talking about.
Okay. Well, I didn't know what I was talking about,
okay,
so...
right.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It's gone 2 o'clock, people. Give us a break. It's like gone 2 in the morning.
They just started this podcast, remember? No, they haven't, actually. Never mind.
We don't even know.
I'm delirious.
Yeah.
They're 10 hours deep at this point.
Come on, let's plow through.
Sing Street. What is Sing Street about?
Sing Street. It's an Irish film.
Okay. About Ireland, yeah?
No, it's about a boy meets girl, girl unimpressed, a boy starts band.
Are they Irish?
To be fair,
though?
that's pretty much all the plot-wise. That is.
Yeah, that's all you really need to know.
Yeah, they start the band. The band has been started.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. They named the band after the school they're at.
Yes.
Yes, because the school is, and this is a detail I forgot until I rewatched it. The school is like it's a Catholic school, isn't it? It's run by priests, so it's very interesting that this is the follow-up to Spotlight.
Indeed.
I wonder if they were on
There is an overlap, isn't there? Actually.
How so?
We'll get to it, but the priest in Sing Street, there's a kind of shadiness.
Oh,
yes.
right, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's like a very old-fashioned discipline kind of school.
Yeah.
And the kids are obviously rebelling against that. And so they kind of name the band after the school.
Mm-hmm. Spelled slightly differently.
It's spelled slightly differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
The spelling is different. I don't know whether it's supposed to be like a middle finger to the school, almost. That this sort of new...
I mean, given the song Brown Shoes, I'd assume...
Well, that's a deliberate fuck you to the head teacher.
Yeah.
What's their music called? Future something.
What now?
The band, the type of music that they do. What does he describe it as? It's not future punk.
I have no idea.
Okay.
It's futuristic.
Because it's like The Cure. And,
Future pop? I don't know.
Yeah, like Joy Division and that kind of music.
Oh, okay, right. I wouldn't call that.
Okay. No, because like...
Well,
he calls himself a futurist.
Is that what the band is called? They do futurist music.
Well, that's kind of what it ends up
Yeah,
being.
I know what you mean. That he comes up with a specific term for it.
Yeah.
I think the film is like... It's almost like...
It's what's on trend at that.
It's almost seasonal. It's almost like instead of spring, summer, autumn, he goes through Duran Duran phase, and he goes through The Cure. Like, they go through different phases, don't they?
It's what's popular on the radio at the time.
Yeah, it's what's Vogue,
yeah.
In Vogue.
Yeah. But yes, it's set during, against the backdrop of the 1980s Ireland, where...
no troubles to be found. No capital T troubles to be found, anyway.
Yes.
Obviously, like money... I'm trying to think of the right word. I'm really... money problems. I can't think of the right fucking word.
Recession? Money is tight?
Yeah. Recession's what I'm looking for. So there's the recession. There was a lot of people who were going over from Ireland to like the UK to London. Obviously that plays its own part in the story as well. Mm-hmm. But essentially, what happens is that your main character, because again I can't remember the names at all. I'm really bad at this.
I can't remember his name. What's the name of the main character in Sing Street?
No idea. I can't even remember the name of the actor.
We'll call him...
We're sorry, audiences.
We'll call him Frontman.
Okay, Frontman.
So, the Frontman...
I remember Lucy Boynton.
We'll call him Frontman. So the Frontman.
Yeah, I remember Lucy Boynton. That's all I can
remember. I remember Lucy Boynton. Yeah. We all remember Lucy Boynton.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Fuck you, Rami Malek.
His name is Connor. Or Cosmo, as I should
Yes.
Cosmo. That was what I was trying to
do. Yeah, fuck you, Rami Malek, for taking her away from us.
Yeah, fuck you. You're almost 40, she's only in her 20s. Fuck off.
Yeah, but he's Mr. Robot.
I know, he's also Freddie Mercury.
Dun, dun, dun.
Where you going way off.
Right. Right, let's bring this back. Right, so basically, Cosmo sees her standing on some steps, introduces himself. She's like, kind of like, oh, great, whatever.
Yeah.
So he tells her that he's in a band. They start the band, and they get her to be in the music videos.
Yes.
Because obviously
she sort of introduces herself as a model, doesn't she?
Yeah, she introduces herself as a model. She's obviously rather attractive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
a bit in love with her.
What about
in the film or real life?
In real life.
It's ropey ground if you say in the film.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, what about who was the actress we were talking about before we started recording? Is it Francesca something?
Oh, Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh.
I can love many people.
Oh, okay.
I can be, what do they call it? Polyamorous? I can be polyamorous.
No, you can't.
Why can't I be polyamorous? You can't tell me I can be polyamorous.
I've known you for 6 fucking years.
We complained about Joaquin Phoenix having like Amy Adams and all these.
Yeah.
We mostly having all of these people.
Yeah.
You can't have Lucy Boynton and.
I can love them if it's unrequited.
Okay.
I can love who I want as long as they don't love me back. Fuck you.
Cool. Yeah, I can't love me back. That'd be weird. If these women started loving me back.
I'll take it. Then they fucking will.
Did you even finish talking about what Sing Street is? Like, no. Did you explain what it was?
Right, so they get to be in the music videos.
I mean, at least this is like our top 2 that we're getting delirious at, because I feel like they're films that can sort of stand on their own.
Yes. Yeah.
Without us doing them justice.
Yeah.
So she's obviously in the music video, but then she kind of starts to see Cosmo, but she has a boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Slut.
What a whore.
But obviously, the boyfriend, the whole point is in the film, Cosmo's 15, she's 16.
Yeah.
And this boyfriend she's got is older.
Yeah, he's an older boy with a car.
He's an older boy with a car who promises to take her away to London.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which turns out to be a crock of shit.
Yes.
But obviously, so she's in these music videos. The first song they do is a song called Rhythm of the Model.
Rhythm of the Model.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
And, he tries to play it off as it's not about her and things like that. But obviously, the more he sort of gets together, they get together and write songs, the more obviously she's influencing everything.
Yeah.
And then his brother, who's played brilliantly by Jack Rayner.
He is fantastic.
Yes. Obviously influences the music taste.
Well, he gives him like homework, quote unquote, where he tells him like, listen to this band.
Yeah. And you have to learn how not to play.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, with each different band, Cosmo's hair
Yes.
His style changes with each different sort of performance and song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think what else I need to say about it. I'm not gonna.
Plot-wise, I think you're sorted.
Yeah, I feel like you've gone above and beyond the Call of Duty there in terms of plot.
Yes. So, for me, one of the reasons why this is quite so high up is one of my favourite films is The Commitments.
Yes.
Which again, it's Irish, it's music.
Mm-hmm. Alan Parker?
I honestly can tell you.
Okay. I'll check. I think it was.
But yeah, I have a weird. I feel like it's a weird obsession with Highland. That is like a big factor, I think, in why it's quite so high up. Again, music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is another one where I listen to the soundtrack fairly regularly still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I genuinely like the what I think is kind of the breakout song of that song, which is a song of that film.
Drive It Like You Stole It.
Which is Drive It Like You Stole It.
Yeah, it's great.
And I'm also a fan of Rhythm of the Model as well. And it's
okay.
kind of like, it's their first song, so it's a bit ropey.
Yeah.
But I still like it quite a bit.
And I'm a fan of that era of music as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it appeals to me a lot.
Yeah. Well, because, then there's Brown Shoes.
Yeah.
And again, much like Llewyn Davis, the nice thing about it is that, like, oh no, we're going to listen to the songs.
Yeah.
It never cuts away.
Yeah. And it's not a musical with one exception, but it's not a musical.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
For me, there's a more acoustic number called Going Up.
Yeah.
That for me is a particular.
Okay.
I really like listening to that.
Yeah. I think it's in is it the credits where you hear the director, if you listen to the end of the credits,
yeah.
The director like rehearsing, going through a run through of Drive It Like You Stole It or something.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
And then he's like, "That's fucking terrible. It's brilliant." It's like, it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of the lyrics are just so stupid.
Yeah.
That's something you write at that age,
Yeah. Oh yeah, it kind of feels like. Yeah, it kind of feels like something kids would come up with,
Yeah. Precocious, but yeah.
It reminds me completely of the bands I remember from school.
Yes.
Other than obviously the fact that they're Irish.
Yeah.
And like how they were sort of seen as well at school.
Mm-hmm.
I completely remember that. It's kind of because it's considered a coming of age film. Generally speaking, I don't really like coming of age films.
I struggle with them. Yeah. I struggle as well.
This is like a, one particular like film that's kind of come up and sort of broken through.
I'm a big fan of Sing Street, but it's always been a problem for me. And I think it's a problem of youth, and I hope it gets better with age. But there's something about really joyous films that always throw up a barrier for me.
Okay.
I know that sounds it's so Smiths.
Yeah.
But I've got to admit, maybe I'm angry sad. Or just sad. But yeah, really like films with the ending it has. I struggle to really get on board with because I'm a miserable bastard.
See, I'm a miserable bastard, but it's hopeful, and that is something I really like.
And we've discussed, I like hope. I'm a fan of hope. But I don't know. Okay, maybe it's love stories then. I'm a bit resistant.
I mean, in that regard, yes. But again, in some regard, I would occasionally call myself a hopeless romantic. So
I am as well. That's sort of the problem, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that when it works out as perfectly as it does in the film as well. It's I'm personally a bit like I like it a lot, but like I personally can't get there. But maybe with age that problem will recede. Doubt it.
I think the other thing with it is the scene in which he imagines the Drive It Like You Stole It.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a school musical.
The school prom, yes.
That's kind of the standout scene, isn't it? Because it's the only scene which isn't strictly taking place in reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, I could probably rewatch that scene over and over quite happily.
Mm-hmm. You think the film, it's an adolescent fantasy playing out.
Yep.
And so, like, you could argue the ending isn't real either. Because the ending is a bit much. I will say. If it is real, it's a bit much.
Yeah.
Of them, I get it, they're going to go off on the boat to London. Jack Ryan's like, yes, fuck, he did what I couldn't.
Yeah.
And then they see the ocean liner and they're waving at them from the ocean liner. It's like, okay, I guess like physically it's possible.
Yes.
But it does feel like he's dreaming this.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I was reading about it, which is the idea that it's not. It is a sort of made-up ending, but it's not in Cosmo's head. It's the ending Jack Rayner imagines for his brother.
Okay.
Which I thought would be I thought that would be
That's interesting.
You know.
Yeah.
the only flaw would be he hasn't met the girl, but
yes, that is true.
But it's a nice idea of
it is, but she has a kind of unreal name, like Rafina is her name.
Yeah.
That's sort of like
strange,
like a girl crush. Yeah, the film, I get it, what it's doing. I just think films like that, they tend to end with the romance not working out. But something has been learned.
Yes.
And that isn't the case in this film.
No.
It's fine, I don't have a problem with it. But,
yeah.
Maybe that's what stops it from becoming like capital G great for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've just got down here, being creative to get girls. Yep. I completely this idea of like, if we form a band, then we can ask her to be in the music video. I totally relate. I 100% get that.
Honestly, it's fucking genius.
It is, and that's why people are in bands.
Lucky for him that he was able to find a guy who could find people to be in his band.
Yeah, he really lucks out that he finds a small ginger kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I completely relate to that. Obviously, I've been in a band. Talking about what songs mean does not reflect my experience.
Okay.
Obviously, him and the guitarist, they're having like a lengthy conversation about what's it about. What's this song? Maybe it was the band I was in, but we never talked about what songs meant. It wasn't that kind of band.
Was it one of those like, what about this? And then you play the riff, and then that's the song.
Someone plays the riff, and like Sam go write the lyrics. Like, okay, and then I'll just keep the meaning to myself.
Okay. I mean, I will say that the guitarist and his bunny, his bunny rabbit, his weird obsession with rabbits.
I like bunnies.
Yeah, the Irish accent's just funny, isn't it?
Yeah, just is.
Yeah.
Sorry, semi-Irish listener. No, Irish. He's not. I was going to say he's only nationally not Irish.
No, but he is.
Yeah, but he's
okay. All right.
Jack Reynor is great. There's one bit though where he says monastic. I think they're talking about Rafina or about
maybe.
He's like, that's admirable. It's almost like monastic, right? And then the sister insults him, and she corrects something he says, and he goes, "Look, I don't do words, okay?" I was like, "You just said monastic."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like he is quite a well-spoken. He's like your philosopher older brother guy.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He reads like books by Kerouac.
Yeah, in fact, he says that if he hadn't dossed around getting high, he's like, I was a fucking jet engine.
Yeah, that's sort of something that became more powerful on the second watch for me.
Absolutely.
Was his like whatever you call it, to Cosmo, his kind of like
that moment of like, it's fine and I have no problem with you, but you don't fucking understand. That I related heavily to that.
Yes. I do have a question, because after the ending of the film, before the credits start proper, For Brothers Everywhere appears on screen.
It does.
Was this a film about brothers? Primarily a film about brothers?
No. Well, I was going to say, that's obviously an Irish term, isn't it?
Yes, but also I would say that
because Jack Ryan is important because he sort of facilitates Cosmo's journey. And he's the mentor, but I didn't feel like their connection was the heart of the film.
See, I think it is. You could argue that it's Rafina and Cosmo, obviously. But no, I would say the heart of the film is the brother relationship.
Okay.
I would. But like, even if it's just...
It's certainly not...
It has a strong brotherly relationship, and thus we will dedicate the film to brothers everywhere.
Yeah.
My guess is that the director was probably inspired to make it by his relationship with his brother.
All right.
That would be my guess.
Okay.
Right. My critique. The priest assaulting him.
Yes.
Feels a bit tonally inconsistent.
Yes.
Maybe it's meant to be jarring, like, all this insidious stuff was happening behind closed doors.
Yeah.
But it's like, where did that come from?
Well, it's supposed to be like, it's supposed to give him something to overcome, like a because at the moment...
And then they write a song about it. But it's like, dude, that's not something that you get over by writing a song about. Go report him.
Yeah, go to the fucking police.
You can't do that,
No, because up until that point, the villain has been like poverty and circumstance and things like that. So you need someone to embody like a force to overcome. That being said, I absolutely don't agree with the priest's reaction. But the fact that he turned up to school with like blonde hair and makeup,
he
was kind of like
asking for it.
Not asking for that, but like what did he expect?
Yes,
the guy was complaining about the fact that he didn't have black shoes. What did he think was going to happen when he turned up in makeup?
Yeah. But so that's
didn't do too badly for me.
That sequence plays out. Yeah, he comes in, he says, you got to wash that. You're pretty enough as it is.
Oh,
or something like that. You've got to wash your face.
Yeah.
Gay.
And he says, you can use my bathroom. And then he walks into the bathroom.
Yeah.
Fine, okay. It's still a bit, but that could have done it. But then he's just like, no, I'm alright. And he walks out.
Yeah.
And then he grabs him, manhandles him into another toilet.
Yeah.
He's like, get off your dirty fit, It's like, I could have done with the. You can do it in my bathroom if you want.
Yeah.
Because like not only is he an abuse, that was the time like teachers could hit kids and stuff.
Yeah.
He's also, a naughty priest, and it's like you don't need both. He could have just been a dick to him.
Yeah.
It's the kind of film where the headmaster's the villain because he's a bit pompous and old fashioned.
Yeah.
It's like what you're dyeing your hair. What is this travesty? That would have done.
Yeah.
That would have done.
Yeah. No.
You didn't need the physical.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I really like it.
I like the kids in this film.
I do,
like
which
the way
is
that
nice rarity.
Yes, I like the way they're portrayed. Obviously, they all give good performances. I like that because one of the sort of like main sort of praises that was sung of Stranger Things were the fact that the kids were like swearing and they felt like they were talking like actual kids.
Yeah.
This film does exactly the same thing where they swear, they smoke. Like the ginger kid is kind of racist. He says very racist things.
Yes,
the film. It sort of like corrects him, but the film allows him to say those things.
Yeah.
And I found out that this film actually predates Stranger Things. So it was nice that, it was nice that, I know that people credit Stranger Things for doing that and like it for sort of like, I guess, really popularizing it. But it's nice that to see Sing Street sort of doing that before it was kind of seen as okay that you can do these things with child actors.
Yeah.
I will say though, Lucy Boynton looks a lot older than Cosmo.
Oh yeah, she does.
And Cosmo looks a lot older than the rest of the kids in the film. So I know it's in like a high school, and you do have like that's the time in which kids change a lot physically. They look a lot different to me.
Yeah, they don't look 15 and 16.
They don't look 15 and 16, and she certainly doesn't look a year older than him. She looks like she's left school,
She does.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a bit distracting. It was distracting my first watch, but certainly this time around I found it a bit distracting.
Yeah. I mean, she was distracting on the first watch.
See, the first watch, no. But maybe it was because I was viewing it through the lens of, it's a school child.
Okay.
But then afterwards, when I knew she wasn't.
Well, okay then.
Nothing said. That said the matter.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say on things.
Yeah, me too.
What's up with the whiteface? You know the black kid in the band?
Oh, he does.
He's in whiteface.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. And he's not only he's in whiteface, but he's like in the background and they never address it.
He's in whiteface.
Like his face is painted completely white.
Okay.
What's up with that?
I can't say I noticed.
Okay. Because I can't remember what
I don't see colour.
No, but that's the thing. I don't remember exactly what the other band members are dressed like during that music video.
Okay.
Because obviously they all look absurd during the Rhythm and Model video.
Okay.
Kind of deliberately, because she's in like Japanese garb, isn't she? Yeah. And she's got like lightning painted on her eyes and all that sort of stuff.
It's because she's got dangerous eyes, John.
She's got dangerous eyes, yeah.
Dangerous eyes.
Or whatever they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the whiteface was like, oh, okay. What's going on there then?
Is that a music video?
Yeah, it's a music video.
Okay.
He'll be dressed up for something, I think.
Okay. You say one of the kids is racist.
The ginger
Are we
kid.
maybe meant to make the connection that he said, for this, do whiteface?
I don't know.
Just to blend in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's sort of interesting that, they never address it. Mainly because just the image alone, I don't know what it's supposed to say.
Okay.
I don't know what it's supposed to do. It might be nothing. It might just be like, we had to make him look kooky.
It's probably like Rafinha was really bad at doing their makeup, so she went to white.
Oh, no, she's not.
Yeah.
She's good at doing them.
Is it whiteface or is it,
Well, his face is painted completely white.
Completely white,
yeah.
Okay.
Like very white paint, just
then
all
I have
over.
no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good film.
It is.
It's a very good film.
Jordan.
Okay. Audience, we have now reached the mysterious film that we alluded to earlier with Parasite and whatnot. My second favourite film of the decade is Bad Genius. Now this is a Thai film from Thailand.
As opposed to...
The film is about...
That's Luke Banger.
Yeah, I did that because I know I'm going to say Taiwanese at one point and that's completely wrong. So
a Thai film from Cornwall.
Yeah, the film is a Thai film from Thailand.
The film is a Thai.
It's a
2:38.
Yeah, in the morning. Yeah.
Mate, by the time we're done, the whole season of 24 will have elapsed. You'll have stopped nuclear meltdown in the time we take to talk about.
People.
Yeah.
Okay. Bad Genius is a Thai film from Thailand. And it's in Thai. It's our final Why? What? What are you
So
want?
it's just Typhoon from Thailand.
Okay.
I get why you're doing it, but
Yeah.
I just keep thinking Stranger from a Strange Land when you say it. That's what I keep thinking.
Yeah, it's the third and final foreign film on my list. Okay.
Yeah. Right, quick caveat before you dive into the film.
Go on.
I'm going to sit out on the critical evaluation of the film.
Okay.
Because my response to it was quite tepid. Now, I don't know whether that was because I was in the wrong frame of mind or whatever when I watched it. Because it's your number 2 of the decade, I will endeavour to watch it again.
Okay.
And give it the benefit of the doubt. But I think this should be a celebration of the films. And we've already had our Midnight in Paris fracas.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
As it will henceforth
be known. So I will just sit this one out and let you two gush over it.
Okay, so the film is it's about a girl who's a genius. She's a super genius. She's the superest genius that ever genius.
A Thai super genius.
A Thai super genius. And she sort of is moved to a new school. And she immediately makes a friend who's not very... She's a bit ditzy. She's not very good at, like, exams and whatnot. So she's sort of like... This, like, super genius girl befriends her and is like, okay, I'm going to, like, tutor you and help you through your exams. They then end up an exam and it becomes very clear that the tutelage has not worked and this girl just can't do it. So obviously feeling sorry for her, the super genius kind of like writes down the answers and sort of like basically allows her to cheat by giving her the answers during the exam. And then other people in the school find out about this and the film sort of basically becomes like a heist movie where the heist is not like, oh, we have to break into a place and steal a thing. The heist is we have to distribute the correct answers amongst the students without the teachers knowing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in that sense, it's kind of like a genre film applied to something that's not typically like it's applied to something very mundane.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons that I love this film, and I really love this film. I love a lot of films that are on these lists, Parasite included.
Mm-hmm.
But Bad Genius, it's just so up my alley. The way that it's just like we're gonna do a heist movie. But like it's going to be like people taking exams.
Right.
It's such like a cool concept, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things. To me, that's kind of one of those things of why has no one thought of that?
Right.
You know, why has no one thought? Because like filming exams are very like boring sedentary activities to do and to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So to kind of bring the energy and sort of like the suaveness and the coolness of like a heist film and to sort of like put that on top of.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's so like despised and boring to so many people. I think it's like an ingenious combination.
Okay.
Especially since for people who are kind of familiar with Asian cinema, their filmmaking tends to be quite bombastic and in your face, and the editing is not invisible in Asian films. And the cameras are very frenetic and they move about a lot.
Okay.
I've sensed that Sam is not It has
you
a
might want to
negative
qualify that a little bit.
Okay.
I think it's a big generalization to say that Asian films are very bombastic. I don't think that's true.
Oh no, I think if you look at like
I don't think that's true.
No, I think if you look at like Bollywood films, they're absolutely
okay. Bollywood films, yeah, of course, but that's a big panoply that you're reducing to bombastic there.
Oh right, okay.
No, I don't think that's fair to say.
Okay.
I know where you're coming from.
Okay.
But I don't think that's
well.
fair
Also,
to say.
I'm going off like anime as well, which is
yes,
Japanese, and that is very
but you're not going off the 70% of films that you don't watch, which are just character dramas.
Okay.
So carry on.
Well, I don't feel like I can now. I feel like you've.
No, I couldn't let that go unchallenged. I don't think.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yes, carry on.
Yeah. So Eddie.
Yes.
You quite liked this film, didn't you?
I did indeed.
Okay.
No, yes, I am. There was something about Bad Genius. I mean, obviously, she gets what she wants by getting into the school, and then she gets it on a lower cost than what they originally try and charge.
Well, she gets him for free, right? Or she believes she gets him for free.
She believes she gets him for free, and then finds out her dad's had to pay a certain fee, which is quite astronomical.
Well, the film kind of does this. It sort of does this thing where it sort of makes the school out to be a prison, almost. Or it's sort of like, it's kind of like, not necessarily a prison, but it's like... The reason I said prison is because all of the students have got like numbers or like writing on their like uniforms, which is on their school uniforms, which is very reminiscent of like prison uniforms.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think that's definitely an intentional comparison the film makes. But she also finds out that basically the dumber you are, the more money the school charges you for its memberships.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So her friend is paying an astronomical amount of money because she's not doing well academically. So the school
Yeah.
is kind of punishing her for it. And then, she finds out that the school are also kind of adding on additional charges that it probably shouldn't be charging for.
Yes. Again, I think when, after obviously trying to help tutor, and then you get the first cheating scene, as it were.
Yeah.
The way it's done, it's written on an eraser,
Yes.
passed between shoes,
Yes.
and very nearly foiled. And it's a sort of an intensity to the scene.
Yeah.
It's quite entertaining to watch. And so, obviously they get the whole, right, here's the group of people, they want to learn, you're talking about having a system, and she treats it like she's teaching them music lessons.
Yes. Yeah. It's all like a big cover up to kind of keep the truth away from the parents and the teachers.
And obviously because she's tutoring, then like she's got money she can give to her dad, and then she's like, getting a dad like items with what essentially comes across, I think, to him in the end like blood money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because she lives with her father and just her father. I can't remember if the mother's died or whether she's left them, or I don't remember what that's all about.
Yeah, she's not in the story.
But yeah, her father is like really struggling financially, and obviously when she finds out that the school is charging him all of this extra money, that kind of galvanizes her to go the route of like cheating on these exams, because obviously the students are paying her money for it as well. So she's gaining something from it rather than just, I'm helping people cheat,
Yeah. She gains something from it, but in the end kind of compromises a bit too much.
Yeah.
The scene where obviously her and the other smartest sort of kids.
Is it Bank? I think he's called.
Yeah.
Bank,
After he's been eventually he gets roped into this whole scheme.
Yeah.
Because earlier on in the story he's the tattletale, if you will.
Yeah, he's sort of like the one uncorruptible character, it seems. Like he's going to be the person they have to like navigate around in terms of the cheating. 'Cause he tries to he gets the wrong impression. He thinks his best friend is cheating on Lynn, the main character's name is.
Yeah.
Without her knowledge, not realizing that there's this massive conspiracy going on.
Everyone else in the example is using her to help cheat.
Yes. And then they kind of rope him into things, and I think he's
someone pays some people to beat him up.
Yes, yeah. I think he's probably one of the best character in the film, because he gets completely corrupted by it.
And he gets completely corrupted by it. He gets caught.
Yeah.
Completely loses his chance at this dream that he's had.
Yeah.
And then when he sees Lynn again, it's just like...
He's immediately like, let's do it again.
Right, let's do it again.
Yeah.
We're
not going to go to prison. It's the perfect crime.
Yeah.
Even if we get caught, we can't go to prison.
Yeah.
And she sort of sees the potential road ahead, and she's like, I can't,
She's like, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not happening. But the scene after she leaves the exam hall, when she's, got the phone, and then she's just walking through, and the guy is following her.
Yeah.
So she gets to the train station. It's like, how do you do things? Right. Throw up on a train station. It's gross, it's disgusting, I can get out of this.
No, it's a really fun film, definitely, I would say. It's very entertaining, it's very fun. They managed to make people cheating on an exam feel really exciting, almost. Like the big action sequence.
I put a lot of effort into cheating on my GCSEs, thank you very much.
No, but the big action scenes of the film are people trying to cheat. And it's genuine, the characters, during the second cheating sequence, when they're in that big hall and her pen is failing and they find out there's multiple exams, so they have to swap exam sheets without the teacher noticing.
Yeah.
And the character's sweating. There's a moment where her pen breaks and a character behind her is just grabbing his hair, and it's genuinely really intense. I think the way they managed to make something very uninteresting feel very interesting through the way that they present it, and obviously through the genre they've chosen to. I have a critique, and that is even though this film is from Thailand and it's in Thai, not all of the film is in Thai. There are some portions of the film that are in English, because the climax of the film takes place in Australia, and all of the English-speaking actors are terrible.
Okay.
I think they're really not good.
Yeah.
The villain, the one that you just kind of alluded to, that follows her to the train station after the exam, he's the least Australian man ever.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, he is.
Yeah, and his performance is so... There's a great line delivery. Well, it's a terrible line delivery, but I love it. He catches up to her in the train station, and obviously the cover story is that she's sick, so she sort of forces herself to be sick in front of him.
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm sick. And he goes, this doesn't matter. It's a really weird delivery, but it's always kind of stuck with me. I wonder if like the director wasn't English speaking, or whether they just kind of had someone to confirm, yes, these are the correct lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, the delivery is off very clearly. I don't like most of the characters.
Okay.
But I feel like you're not supposed to like most of the characters.
Okay.
I feel like other than Lynn and Bank, which are the two smartest kids in the school, and the father as well, I suppose, because he's sort of like the moral. As soon as he figures out, he's like, right, you got to cut that shit out. I'm not having that. And all this stuff that you've bought me with the money you've earned, I don't want it. Okay. I don't care that I'm struggling. I don't want that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like her best friend and her boyfriend, who's like, they're the other two main characters in the film, and they kind of like, he kind of funds their schemes, the boyfriend. And as you find, because you mentioned that someone paid these thugs to beat up Bank, you find out that was the boyfriend who did that to kind of like.
He knew it was the only way.
No, he does it to get him to miss an exam, right?
He knew, yes, because he knew that if he missed that exam, it was the only way he would end up probably
on the team. Yes, exactly. Yeah, the boyfriend is just a bastard. I don't think he's supposed. I hate him, just the way he is.
Okay,
his attitude. He's so like cocky and unlikable, and the girl just kind of like it. I think it becomes clear after a while that she doesn't have Lynn's best intentions at heart.
Yeah.
So you kind of dislike her for that.
And I enjoy watching the way Lynn figures that out.
Yes.
Because obviously it's like the person that's next to her in class. So obviously like you just end up meeting them. So you end up like kind of becoming friends.
Yeah.
But they are complete polar opposites.
Yeah. But it's very quick as well. You get the first scene where it's like, oh, Lynn being accepted into the school.
Yeah.
Then they kind of frame the introduction of all of the characters around them getting like their school photos taken.
Yeah.
I think
for their IDs.
Yeah, Bank being the only exception, weirdly. I don't know what that was about. But yeah, so they kind of have their photo taken together. Then they're like in the library studying for the exam, and then it's the first exam. It's very quick at like starting itself up. Yeah. And the film as well kind of goes on at like a fair old pace, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a very entertaining film. It's a very fun film.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great concept, I think. And I think the execution does it justice. So, Bad Genius, go watch it if you can, because as you mentioned, Eddie, it's not available in many territories.
It's not, and for me that is
go on.
One of the bigger injustices for us. I think the fact that it hasn't had a more worldwide release.
I consider it. I mean, it proper transcends the language barrier.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing to me that it hasn't been picked up by an international
it's a heist film. It's not a foreign film. In that, it's a heist film before it's a foreign film, I would say. And also, I think I should probably have fact checked this before, but I'm pretty sure it had like the biggest opening weekend in Thailand ever, and so like one of the more successful releases of the year. It came out certainly, but maybe like for quite a while, it's one of the more successful films they've had. So it's kind of a real surprise that it hasn't penetrated into the West at all.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it might be on American Netflix.
Until you brought it up to me, I had never heard of it.
No, yeah. I mean, it's a surprise for me. I only stumbled upon it by chance, really.
I mean, I would say, given my film palette in general, that's probably not surprising that I hadn't come across it.
Yeah.
But then, like, was it up for any of the awards at award season? Or
no,
exactly.
It's
I
not
would say, like, because obviously, like with Parasite, I would have found Parasite because it's up, as we now know, it's up for an Oscar.
Yes.
So I would have eventually found that film. I would have probably gone, oh, okay, what's this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bad Genius is like completely under the radar.
Yeah.
And it is, I think it is a very good film. It's quite an interesting film. I say it does remind me of, quite shamefully, cheating on exams at school.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I'm not going to confirm exactly how I did that.
Did you devise a system involving a piano in which you have to?
No, it was nothing that smart. There's something I'd been able to do for a while, and it came in handy in a particular exam.
Right.
Because that's nice as well. It's like the piano codes, because it comes back later in the film, and it's sort of like a proper like, oh cool, they reintroduced that idea. But I don't know, if like you're not doing well on a multiple choice exam, are you really going to be able to learn like the Morse code representing these like piano riffs?
Yeah.
That feels a bit like, it's a great idea, because he's just essentially like tapping a table. But yeah, that feels a bit like, I don't know if like, lesser students would be able to keep up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
okay.
I'm just thinking about like the scene I have in my head when I'm like just thinking about that is obviously the scene where it's like, oh no, put your pens down, stop, and she's obviously doing 2 exams.
Yeah, and she's like rushing, and the teacher's like walking up to her in slow motion, and then he like slams his hand on the table, and you're like, oh god, is she being caught?
Yeah.
In moments like that where like it does a really good job of like ratcheting up the intensity throughout the scene. Please go watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we've sold it on this one. Because it's getting late, we're getting tired.
Yes.
Obviously, you wanted to sit out most of the discussion.
Yeah.
I do second it that I go and watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is another like perfect gateway into foreign cinema because it's not too big a leap.
This is the one film you will see on nobody's best of the decade.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if it even showed up on people's like best of the year when it came out.
Yeah.
Most people probably won't have heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did bring it up like during Parasite and say I think if I hadn't had Parasite to watch, I think Bad Genius probably would have still brought me on to looking into more foreign cinema.
Yeah.
So I do highly recommend it purely for that reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go see it, demand it. Hopefully we'll get it in the West at some point.
You don't have to. Okay. All right.
You'll be eating your words when you rewatch it.
Will I? Okay.
Well, hopefully.
Okay. Are we done with Bad Genius?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Mine numero deux is The Master.
Oh, fucking hell.
Okay, so The Master, what's The Master about? It's about a drifter who was in the Navy in World War II who falls into the orbit of a man named Lancaster Dodd who is essentially a cult leader.
Mm-hmm.
It's heavily inspired by Scientology.
Yeah.
It's Scientology with a different name.
Yeah.
And it's about their relationship, really. And again, it's a film not best served by describing its plot. So I shan't say any more about the plot.
Okay.
That's what the film's about.
Well, that's already mysterious.
Well, this is okay, so my big... one of the big reasons I love this film is I love films that are enigmas without being deliberately obtuse.
Yes.
Which The Master is an exercise in. It's a film that's, J.J. Abrams' mystery box. It's what is this thing?
Yeah.
How do I open it? Where are the cracks to look in? But it's not smart ass. It's not up itself.
No.
It's not too ponderous, and it's not impenetrable. It's just weird.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not impenetrable. It's like, I can sort of get in there.
Yeah.
But it's a weird little film. It's kind of, what is it? It's a kooky curio,
Yeah.
So I love films like that. Yeah, the whole thing has an off-kilter sensibility. It just feels a bit off.
In a good way?
In a good
probably
way.
clarify.
Yeah,
In a
so
good
in
way,
a totally
yeah.
good way. And that is kind of augmented by Johnny Greenwood's score, which is these like clacking coconut songs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
Very strange.
The cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the best looking films of the decade.
Yes.
I would say. I can't pronounce the DP's name.
Okay.
Joaquin Phoenix plays the central role in the film. It's his best performance.
Hands down?
Hands down his best performance. Would you concur?
Yeah.
Would you concur?
Yeah, I mean, I quite like him in Her.
Yes. Yeah, but there's something about him in The Master. Like, obviously, people are talking a lot about the Joker's physicality.
Yes.
But as you brought
Fuck off.
he already did that in The Master.
Yeah.
Down to the hunching over
during the first
skeletal
scene
frame.
where he's like on the beach.
Yeah.
There's a lot of his physicality reminds me a lot of what he's kind of doing in Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's my favourite performance of the decade.
Oh, wow, okay.
Two of my favourite performances of the decade, but him particularly.
Yes.
It's an amazing performance.
Yeah.
It's like he's an alien almost. He has an alien quality to him. He has this dark, surreal anger. He's an animal, basically.
Yeah.
He's a beast. And one of the things that the film plays up a lot is that Lancaster is order and he is man, and Freddy is beast and wild and kind of unrestrained.
Yeah.
It takes place in the 50s in post-war Americana, and that just kind of ticks a box for me because I love that aesthetic. I love the white picket fence thing. It doesn't do a David Lynch where it kind of exposes the seedy underbelly of what was going on in those homes, but it has that aesthetic to it.
Yes,
and I love things like that because those things are always about fractured society, about how it's never as good as it looks on the tin.
Yes, exactly.
On the rewatch, the narrative makes a lot more sense to me.
Okay.
It's actually quite a lot more bum 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 than I remember it being.
Okay.
Because it is a very moody film in the sense of it kind of basks in its mood.
Yeah.
There's a weird kind of contradiction that Joaquin Phoenix embodies, which reminds me, that those kinds of characters, your Lou Blooms from Nightcrawler, your Freddy Quells from The Master, they are reminiscent of Travis Bickle in different ways.
Yeah.
And one of the fundamental lines in Taxi Driver is his date says to him, "You remind me of that song, You're a Walking Contradiction." And Joaquin Phoenix is a walking contradiction in the sense that he's this sex-obsessed maniac. Like, that's his thing. He's utterly obsessed with sex. But he's a child.
Yes.
It's a weird kind of contradiction that I love, and best exemplified in, the shot I'm talking about, where they're both in prison in separate cells. And then you just got Philip Seymour Hoffman just leaning on the bunk.
Yeah.
And then Phoenix is going mad, thrashing in the cell next to him. It's like, that is the film in a nutshell.
Yeah, I really like that. The image you get from that.
Yes, exactly. And going back to this idea of kind of fractured ideals in post-war America, that's sort of what the film is about. How kind of after World War II, all these cults started emerging.
Yeah.
The film doesn't explore that necessarily. It does it through the prism of one. But when men had seen the horrors of World War II and they returned to America, it's like, right, well, Christianity isn't working. God isn't working for me. Where can I find answers?
Yeah.
And that cults, so many American cults formed in, the aftermath of World War II.
Yes.
And I think the very first shot of the film is Phoenix on a boat with his kind of helmet on, and he kind of looks over. You never see what he sees, and it's sort of like, what is he seeing?
Yeah.
What did he see that has turned him into this?
Yes.
Monster, essentially.
Yeah.
It's a love story between two men.
Okay.
It's a platonic love story between two men.
Yeah.
Because again, there is a weird contradiction in Hoffman treats him like he's his child a lot of the time. He's like, "You naughty boy, you shouldn't be doing that, you naughty, naughty boy." But he serenades him at the end with a love song.
Yes.
I wanna get you on a slow boat to China. It's weird. It's a weird, mercurial, bizarre relationship.
Yeah.
That is the centre of the film, and I love it.
Okay.
Philip Seymour Hoffman as the cult leader it's an astounding performance, and it is a performance within the performance. That guy's putting on a show. He's making, as his son says, played by Jesse Plemons, he's making it up as he goes along. And there are moments where that veneer, that facade is cracked, and he kind of, pig fuck, and he just like lashes out.
Yeah.
Those scenes are amazing. But he's actually annoying, and that's one of the things that occurred to me a lot on the rewatch is, he's actually irritating.
Okay.
But in a good way, like in a way that blustering bravado would be irritating.
Yes, yeah.
Like there's the scene where he's singing, a roving, and it's just, you are fucking annoying me. And that's sort of my one micro critique in a way, is like him being annoying.
Okay.
If you weren't into the film, I think it might be repellent.
I see, okay.
But I'm into it, so it's not.
Naturally, yes.
But yeah, they've got this weird father-son relationship, but it's also kind of naughty and sexual.
Yeah. Should we talk about the scene?
We'll get to the scene.
Okay.
We'll get to the scene.
Because unfortunately, I didn't get around to it on a rewatch, but I remember that scene.
That scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will definitely get to that scene.
Yeah.
There's a moment, there's a recurring idea in the film, because Lancaster purportedly believes in that we are just vessels and our souls are eternal, and we just move from vessel to vessel.
Yeah.
Like we are billions of years old. And he keeps saying to Joaquin Phoenix, "Where do I know you from? I must work it out," like through the whole film.
Yeah.
And I just relate to that idea, because we have a friend that when I met him, I felt like I had met him before.
Yes.
And then he asked me about like 3 weeks into our friendship, "Have we met?" I was like, I've been thinking exactly the same thing, and we've never resolved that.
Okay.
It's just a weird eternal mystery.
Yeah.
people in the film actually look like they're from the 40s and 50s, similar to the cops in Nightcrawler. They actually seem like people from that time.
No, I completely agree.
In that little sequence where he's a photographer in a mall and he's taking photographs of
Oh,
all the
yeah,
family.
there's that woman going around kind of like trying to sell the coats.
Yeah,
That's the same sequence, isn't it?
It's the same sequence, yeah. But they look like people.
Yes.
You know, they actually look like people. Yeah, there's kind of little hints as to Quell's background, and we will get to that scene. But so before he ends up with this cult, he's sort of like Lulu, a bit of a chance. He's doing odd jobs, but he can't commit to anything because he's so mad.
Yeah.
And he is working at on an orchard, not an orchard, a vineyard. I think it's a vineyard. And he's making. So a recurring idea is that character makes his own booze.
Okay.
But he uses like jet fuel to do it, and he concocts his own brews. And he makes something for all the employees where he's working at this place. And he looks at one of the farmers and he says, "You look like my father. You remind me of my father." And it's a dismissive line. And then that guy ends up getting poisoned, or like alcohol poisoning.
Oh, right, okay.
And he's like, "No, he just drank too much. He just drank too much." Like, you poisoned him.
Yeah.
And they chase him out, and that's where he ends up on the boat. But it's this little thing of like, did he poison him because it reminds him of his dad?
Yeah.
What's that about? There's this whole,
Well, of course, my natural inclination was to think, you remind me of my father.
Exactly.
I hated my father.
Exactly, yeah. I went to see this in the cinema with...
I was wondering if you were going to bring up this anecdotal...
I forgot to bring it. I still have my ticket stub from seeing The Master. I was going to bring it, but... so it came out in 2012. I was in sixth form. I went to see it with 4 other people, friends of mine.
Neither of which were us.
Yeah, neither of which were you.
Yeah.
I went to see it with one person. We were both Paul Thomas Anderson fans, and we were like, right, we have to go see this film.
Yeah.
And then everybody else sort of tagged along, really.
Yeah.
And the power of the film is sort of manifest in the variance of our responses.
Yes.
We were leaving the cinema. I think The Master is a film that you could fucking hate. You could hate that film.
Yeah.
We were leaving the cinema. I'm there processing, right, I think that's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. But I got to sit on it. So I got feedback. One friend said, it was alright. Another friend said, oh, I understand it's good, but I wasn't fussed on it. One friend said, I'll get back to you. I have no idea.
Okay.
Another friend said, that's the worst film I've ever seen. And I was sitting there thinking, it might be the best film I've ever seen in the cinema. And the fact it could provoke such a range of response.
Yes, yeah.
That's a film. A film that can provoke those sort,
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so there's a scene in the film called the processing scene.
Yes.
In which they've recently met, and Lancaster Dodd does this thing where he subjects his followers to processing, which he sits them down in a chair, he asks them questions, and he kind of imposes arbitrary rules on what behaviour is permitted and all that sort of thing during the questioning. And it's essentially a trust-building exercise, or a kind of an ego-shattering exercise for him to kind of look like he's look like someone who's in the know, basically.
Yeah.
And so the scene just plays out. He gets Freddy, they sit down, they do the processing, and the scene is just cutting between the two of them. It's the greatest scene of the decade. It's one of the greatest scenes, period.
Yes.
How would you describe it, Jord? That scene?
Well, it's a masterpiece.
It's a mini masterpiece.
Well, yeah, pun intended, I suppose.
Within a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah, how would you
I don't
articulate
know
it?
what I could say to do it justice, if I'm honest.
I would say YouTube the scene, but no, go watch the film.
Yeah.
But that scene in and of itself is a mini masterpiece. Basically, he just starts saying, right, you can't blink.
Yeah.
You can't blink, and if you kind of slip up, we have to go back to the beginning.
Yes.
And he starts asking him quite mundane questions at first. And then he says, like, have you ever had sexual intercourse with a member of your family? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
Responding like you would, no. And then on, like, the third round, because he blinks, and he's like, you can't blink.
We have to start again.
We have to start again. And because Freddie Quell is so manic, he starts, like, hitting himself, like, come on, get it together. And then he asks him again, have you had sexual relations with a member of your family? He says, yes. And it's just, like, robotic, like, yes. It's like he's breaking him down, And he's chosen a person for whom it probably wouldn't be too difficult to bring them down a level.
Yes.
And you think, oh, that's what cults are. They're weak-willed, weak-minded people that have fallen under the rubric of this kind of egomaniac. And he just starts telling him all this really personal information. And the acting is just phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And there's a nice little detail that I picked up on the rewatch is he says to him, you can't blink. Every time you blink, we start again. But after he starts divulging secrets, he blinks a lot and he never calls them out on it. It's like, oh, clearly, it's just your way of getting them to kind of open up.
Yes.
Yeah, and that basically, like I said, it's kind of a love story. That scene is a sex scene.
Yes. Is this your observation, or is this an observation you've heard elsewhere?
I mean, it is mine. You choose to believe that or not. This is definitely... I remember seeing...
Because this is the thing, you told me... I heard this from you first, but I don't know if it's... I've never really asked whether it was your observation or not.
It was 2012, so, when my film taste was kind of blossoming even further.
Yeah.
And I just remembered that because I was watching it in the cinema, had that thought and gone, oh, maybe I'm into film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So after that scene, they kind of relaxed, like, oh man, that was a good processing session. And then they smoke.
Yes.
So, there's the post-coital cigarette.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything you guys want to say about The Master?
The Master is, for me, it's a difficult one because I really, really like the film.
Mm-hmm.
But of the films for today, like, it's not in, like, the plot is not in my head at all.
Right.
It's like it's not, like, there,
Uh-huh.
And I remember the motorbike scene.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, I like the motorbike
scene.
I remember the motorbike scene.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, with that, like, motorbike scene, it's a great scene, but I'm sure it was in the trailer.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's that I had obviously seen the trailer before, and I do remember going, there's a scene with the motorbike, and then as we're getting through, I'm going, I do remember thinking,
right.
the fuck's this going to happen? Like,
right.
Because it just didn't seem like you were going to have a scene like, whether that means in my head it feels a little out of place, I don't know.
Right. Well, they shouldn't have, trailers are terrible. they just are. Yeah, I know. I sort of know what you mean. If you're going and expecting it, and then it's like 2 hours, and like, it hasn't happened.
Yeah,
because it's quite a long film. I will say it probably feels longer than it is, but not in a bad way.
Okay.
No, I can agree with that.
Yeah, because I think it's just over 2 hours, but it feels like it could well be like a 3-hour movie.
I do agree with like performance.
It takes its time.
Philip Seymour Hoffman and Phoenix, very, very strong performances.
Yeah.
I honestly, because was he actually nominated for it? Or
yeah, they were both nominated.
I would say because for me, obviously, that's a hell of a lot better.
Hell of a lot better. Yeah, if you're into Joker, watch The Master.
Yeah.
If anything, like if that's opened you to like, Joaquin Phoenix being a great actor, watch The Master. He did it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, as I say, like a lot of it's just not really in my head. We've said it a few times now. It is quite late, so
yes,
brain cells are slowly dying. So I do apologise for having not as much to say on it. But I do remember, it is a film that, again, would have been high up on possibilities.
Yeah.
But just, I don't know, it just didn't quite make the cut, I suppose.
Fair. I mean, for me, it's a consciousness raising film in as much as I feel like I couldn't kind of articulate precisely how or why it would, but I feel like my life would be poorer without having seen The Master.
Okay.
I don't know how I can express that actually, but you know what I mean. Like my life was enriched by having seen that film, and the world is better for having it. And thank God that Philip Seymour Hoffman was able to give that kind of performance in the limited time he ended up having.
Yes.
Yes,
and I think
I do agree with that.
Yeah, it's almost like, well, we got that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's like better than most people have in their whole careers. So, yes.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Okay.
Anything else you want to say about The Master?
No, I'm sorry about that.
It's all right. I feel like I was an ambassador for it quite,
yes,
profusely.
Yeah. I do like it.
Yes. It's a Sam film.
Yes, a Sam film, yeah.
I get it.
Well, I do like it, but also I don't know.
It's very interesting how our number twos have exemplified the big difference between you and I cinematically.
Oh yes, yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? How not number one,
no,
because we're kind of in agreement in a way on our number ones.
Yeah.
But number two, it's like highlights the difference.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I sort of, again, kind of with Eddie, I don't really have anything to say.
Yes.
But that shouldn't be seen as a negative of the film.
No, and I think the film... Did you rewatch it for this?
I saw some of it. I didn't get around to all of it.
It's a film you definitely have to have fresh in your mind, relatively, if you're going to talk about it, because it is an odd film, and it is difficult to talk about, because it is a kind of puzzle.
Yes.
So other than saying the obvious, which is, the actors are good, and it looks nice and everything, it is quite difficult to talk about. But it's a good film to talk about if you've watched it together. It's a good film to try and unpack.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry that we didn't do that.
No,
I'm sorry
we weren't able to have that conversation. That wasn't me having a go. I'm saying if you're going to watch it, watch it with someone
people you could discuss it with.
And have a conversation about it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
And now, Eddie Boylett's #1 motion film picture of the 2010s is
Whiplash.
We did it.
Woo!
We got a Whiplash.
We got to Whiplash. We got to the first of our number one film of the decade.
How appropriate as well that you did a little drum roll there to go into Whiplash.
That wasn't intentional.
I mean, it works though. It works.
It works.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's it about?
What's it about? I can't even do that.
No, what's it about?
What's it about?
Yeah.
About.
What is it about? What are you doing? What accent is that?
Sort of exaggerated Cockney. What's it about?
I see.
Go on, blimey, darling. Fucking hell. Whiplash is a film about a sort of ambitious jazz drumming student played by Miles Teller, and sort of follows his journey as he sort of tries to make it at this sort of fictitious Schaefer Conservatory, where he joins a group which is run by an abusive instructor played by J.K. Simmons. And so you sort of get the story of their relationship and watching someone as they sort of go above and beyond trying to get their goal, and sort of follows that. I mean, other than that, I don't really know what you need to know about the plot.
Why is it the cinematic peak of the 2010s?
The pinnacle of the...
Well, I said peak, but okay.
The pinnacle of the 2010s.
The zenith. Synonymise me as much as you want. Why is it not the nadir of the 2010s?
Well, it's not the valley because...
no, it's not the trough. It's the peak.
Yeah.
Bring it full circle.
Yeah.
Why is it good? It was my number 7?
And it was my number 3.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think for me...
No, it was your number 6.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You should know.
We've been at this a long time, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for me, I think just performances to start with. Both Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. Miles Teller in particular, I think it's the best thing he's ever done.
Is it the only good thing he's ever done?
I haven't seen everything that he's done. When I have got through that back catalogue, I would like to discuss him in more sort of in depth, because from what I can see, he for the quality that comes with this film and the performance that he gives, the fact that there isn't really anything else I would compare it to of what I have seen.
Do you think it's a disproportionately good performance or a disproportionately good film?
I mean, I think it's a very, very good film, and I think because of the part he plays, it may well elevate him. I think. Okay,
because I would compare it to. We'll talk about this film on a later podcast, but Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems, everyone hailing it as his greatest achievement.
It's a good part, not necessarily good.
Yeah, it's a good script and it's well directed.
Yeah,
it's the same with Paul. When he's in a good director's film, he is good.
Yes,
it's not like, oh, why hasn't he been doing? Why hasn't he been this good in everything? It's because the material's never been there.
Yeah.
So is that the case with Whiplash? Do you think?
Possibly. That was really loud. I was very aware that. Sorry.
Well, no, you were certain. It's yes, it's possibly this.
It's ready to assert a hedge, isn't it? Maybe.
Maybe this was the best thing he's ever done.
Definitely maybe.
Because of the script and everything.
Yeah.
No, genuinely, quite possibly, because he's alright in War Dogs, but it's not a great film.
Right.
I'm not going to go into Fantastic Four, because no.
Van Forstic.
Yes.
That film, no, it's just horrific.
Yeah.
I've seen him in the modern remake of Footloose. That's But
Oh, right, okay.
But, you know, I think just because of the commitment he probably had to have, like, you know, he legitimately drums, whether he actually bleeds or not for the part, you know, obviously his hands are bleeding in the film a lot. And, you know, it looks like the commitment he had to put in for this part.
I think a better title for the film would have been Blister.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I can listen to you. What was the other one? There was Blister, there was The Last Frontier, and there was another one.
Yeah, I know there was another one, but I can't remember what that is.
Okay.
I mean, this would have been a hell of a different film if it was called Caravan. That's not.
No, but that's the thing. That's actually one of my. I was going to say major grievances. It's not a major grievance at all, but it's one of the few negative things I have to say about the film. It does slightly bother me that the film is called Whiplash, and yet the pivotal piece of music is Caravan. And Whiplash is in the film. It's like the first piece he plays with that jazz orchestra.
Yeah, I think yes, it's that, but also obviously you can kind of derive a drumming so hard you get whiplash.
No, exactly. That's the thing. It's a brilliant. It's another one of those brilliant titles where it sort of has a place in the film, but it also has implications on the.
It's a multi-meaning title.
Yeah, but I think the thing that would have really nailed it is if Whiplash was that pivotal piece, like the one he plays at the very end, and the one that he falls out of favour with the band and stuff.
Yes, but although I suppose the problem is I don't as good as because I get
the impression Caravan is more intense.
Caravan's more intense, and it leads to that drum.
Yes, it's like it's up the scale in terms of difficulty from Whiplash. I completely understand that.
Scales, drumming scales.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you always do to me, and I'm doing it to you now.
I don't think you do scales in drumming. No. I think that's a.
I'm pretty sure the word scales is used in the film, right? In reference to drumming.
Yeah, but I would have thought that was like an instrument that has more than one note.
What, drums?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have multiple drums, don't you?
Yes.
I mean, we know a drummer. We should probably have checked with him, shouldn't we?
Okay. I think drum scales is a thing.
Oh, okay. All right. Because obviously piano, I play piano. I know that scales is part of piano and melodic instruments like that.
Well, look, if there's no such thing as drum scales, there's a tenuous musical connection.
Okay. All right.
I'll defend that terrible joke.
Okay.
But also, very quick insert. I think you are behooved to for the title of your film to have multiple meanings.
Yes.
The least you can offer is 2 meanings for your title.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can. I mean, there are the odd except. There's the odd exception.
Yeah, of course.
To the rule,
of course. Yeah. Either something like we talked about before, like train spotting, where it's like an invitation. Like, what does that mean?
Yes.
Or something with multiple meanings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes. I mean, I've got a slight love with jazz music. I kind of back and forth.
Right. Love hate.
Yeah, so obviously jazz is prominent in films like La La Land. And then
most things he's done, I think, other than First Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damien Chazelle.
Yes.
I mean, that's it, to be fair.
Well, is it the piano player or the pianist or something?
It's not the pianist. The concert, I don't know.
Grand piano?
Grand piano. Yeah. That's it. With Elijah Wood.
I don't know if that's jazz or whether that's classical.
I don't know, to be fair. I would
he
guess
does have a thing to do with jazz, though.
Oh, he clearly loves it.
He is was a jazz musician, I think.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
and he's clearly a music snob as well.
Yeah, he wrote Grand Piano.
Okay.
Yeah, he wrote it.
Yeah, he didn't direct it.
No.
Whiplash was his first major Grand Piano was a smaller.
Yeah, there was a short film of Whiplash.
Yeah,
and then that became the feature. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Ryan. We're going on to La La Land slightly, but Ryan Gosling's character in that, he's a jazz purist, isn't he? He gets really arsey when he ends up in a fusion jazz band.
And in Whiplash, he's got that poster in his bedroom that's it derides rock drummers. I can't remember the exact phrasing.
Yeah, you're not a proper drummer if you're a rock drummer. Or something.
Yeah. If you don't want to be a proper drummer, join a rock band or something like that.
Yeah.
Just
shitting on that Led Zeppelin dude.
John Bonham.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say those 2 words and just leave it.
Yeah.
John Bonham.
But yeah, I've got this, it kind of started with there was a short BBC series called Dancing on the Edge.
Yeah, with your man Chewie. Chew to that Juffo.
Okay, that really threw me then.
Starring Chewbacca in this weird jazz show.
We're veering slightly towards the racialist.
It's not the first time that's happened.
No.
You
crashed through it.
But yeah, so it kind of started with that. So I listened to little bits of jazz music here and there. So I was kind of familiar with things like Caravan anyway.
Right.
So from that sort of aspect, I was always going to like it. I think probably from the point of view of the music anyway. But then, yeah, as I say, the performances from Miles Teller, J.K. Simmons, obviously, he got a lot of plaudits anyway.
Yeah.
And having seen the short film that they sort of did first, I was glad that they obviously made this like a sort of feature length because I wanted more from the short when I watched it.
Yeah. Am I right in saying that, like, prior to this, I mean, he still kind of is, but J.K. Simmons was more of a bit part guy than like a major actor?
Yeah. He's sort of that guy in films. One of that guy.
Yeah, he'll show up for like bits and pieces.
Yeah, well,
obviously,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think that's probably his highest profile role pre Whiplash.
I would have said so.
Yeah. But he's always been good. It's just one of those, it happened to find a role that perfectly suited what he brings.
Yeah. And I think he's got a friendship with Chazelle, obviously he's in La La Land.
Yeah.
But I think they've got a friendship and stuff there. But it worked, that, the combination sort of, I think, worked very well. I think there was good chemistry between Teller and J.K. Simmons. And I think, without going too much into the plot, because I kind of do want people to go and watch this, I think the final scene alone, because throughout the entire film, we've had Not My Tempo sort of thrown at, legitimately through the force of like chairs thrown at you.
Yes. There's that, I don't know how famous it is, but there's that Weird Al Yankovic parody, isn't there? Where he's like edited himself into the scene.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Here's the thing, I think, him, those explosive moments where he throws, obviously you kind of need those. But for me, it's most effective when he just kind of does the subtle that little hand gesture he does. Like, not quite my tempo.
Yeah.
It's better when he's
he just
simmering.
seems starting to lose his rag a bit.
Yeah.
Because obviously...
Rag? Because ragtime? I don't know if that's jazz.
It is. Well, it was a precursor to jazz.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Oh, we're getting all the...
See, that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Because drummers have rags sometimes on their drums to cushion the sound.
Oh, dear, no.
Also, it's like, you could view it as a rags to riches story.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, wow, we've really...
Rags to Buddy Rich. Is that the drummer that he idolizes?
It might be.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Rags to Buddy Riches or whatever it is. Yeah.
Screw Blister. This film should be called Rags.
Rags.
Or Rag.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. that was a brilliant tangent.
Yeah. So anyway, back to Rag. Eddie, go on.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I was saying.
We were just talking about how good the performances were.
Yes, but okay. So yeah, the ending.
Oh yeah. The fact it's a thriller. Yeah.
Yeah, like you've had that sort of thrown in your face. And then he gives him, I really don't want to go in, but you kind of have to.
Well, I think it's been around long enough that everyone who's dying to see it has seen it,
Yeah.
It's been 6 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, it starts off with a song that he doesn't know, and he's being purposely given something as a fuck you by J.K. Simmons.
Yes.
And he sort of, walks away, things haven't gone well, and then he comes back out and he does Caravan.
Yeah.
And not only does he do Caravan, but he does his own solo, which is just ridiculously good. And you get the thing of it ends with those two so clearly on the same level, and it's quite a nice little, for the entire film, things haven't been working on the same level.
Yeah.
He's J.K. Simmons has pushed and pushed and pushed, and you find out he's pushed to the point where someone's literally died. So we're literally like, oh, okay. And then this, Miles Teller's "Fuck You" ends up putting them on the right kind of track, and I really just...
What's your interpretation of that, though?
Well, this is the thing. It shows you very clearly how far people are willing to go to get that thing.
Okay, I think it's a tragedy. I think the film is a tragedy.
Yeah?
Cloaked in triumph.
Okay.
I think it's... obviously, so the basic structure of the film is, he has to prove himself to J.K. Simmons' character.
Yeah.
It builds to a point where he's been pushed so far that he physically can't play.
Yeah.
And then he is convinced to kind of report J.K. Simmons and his method of teaching.
Post-car crash.
And then J.K. Simmons gets sacked.
Yeah.
And then he ends up roping him in for one big performance where he tries to humiliate him, and he kind of turns the tables on him. And they end up on the same wavelength. But that is the story of a character being completely browbeaten into forsaking everything else in the pursuit of this one monomaniacal thing. I think you could look at it as he achieved what he wanted to achieve. This is a triumph. But I think it is secretly a tragedy because just before he goes to that performance, he calls his ex now and asks if she will come to the show, and she says no.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like the final nail, like, right, okay, all other routes to humanity have been cut off. I will now dedicate myself solely.
Yeah.
And at the end, it becomes a very physical choice between, does he go with his father or does he go back onto the stage? And there's this like thread through the film of he clearly thinks his father is pathetic.
Yes.
And J.K. Simmons kind of augments that by saying it as well. Like, your father's a failed writer who's just a teacher, and he's a nobody, and he's going to like fall under the radar. And then there's a scene right towards the beginning where they go see a film together, and someone bumps into the father, like knees him in the back of the head, and the father apologizes, like after having been hit. He's, sorry. In a nutshell, that's who that character is, you know. But it's sort of like, it is a thriller, right? But in its intensity, it kind of plays out as a fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, a sort of juvenile fantasy, and I'll unpack that in a minute.
Okay.
But part of what I mean by that is, coming back to the Neil Young thing about, is it better to burn out or to fade away? I think the young, rebellious spirit in you thinks, nah, fuck it, like, yeah, do that drum solo, like, burn out, you know what I mean? Like, go out in a blaze of glory. Whereas the more, I can't remember who it was, another songwriter criticized that line and said, surely it's better to go out with the dignity of like a fading star, not go out in a car crash, just like you quietly and with dignity retreat from the limelight, and then you just kind of go away. And I think the older you get, the more that is the realistic, more appealing, like, he shouldn't kill himself over this ambition. Life is about balance. And then you've got that shot of his father looking through the gap, just looking utterly devastated.
I was going to say,
as his son does this epic.
Yeah, I think for me that's the moment that kind of solidifies the idea that this is a tragedy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the father, the guy, the nice guy of the two,
the positive influence,
he's lost. And it's like, it's through like a crack in the door, isn't it? It's like the father's like,
he's been pushed out.
Yeah, he's just watching from afar, like he can't get to his son anymore.
Yeah. So, but I think it's covertly that, because the feeling you get watching it is one of, do you know what I mean? Like, because it's such.
Well, I think you're carried by the sheer intensity of it, because it's really intense. When the drum solos get going, they're really intense as well. He's like
it's like Rocky.
It is, but he's like J.K. Simmons is more like a drill sergeant than he is like a tutor, and that's the way those scenes are kind of treated. They're treated like a drill sergeant pushing a soldier to his physical limits.
Yeah, and even though your best self might go, he shouldn't be idolizing this maniac.
Yeah.
At the end, when J.K. Simmons has been so abusive the entire film, and you're kind of terrified of him.
Yeah.
When he starts looking like, I'm with Andrew now.
Yeah.
And he starts like smiling subtly to himself. You're so happy to see him happy.
Yes. Yeah.
That you've been rewarded finally with his acceptance. That carries you through the kind of adrenaline of that as well. But I think when all is quietened down afterward, you go, oh, that's quite bleak.
Well, I mean, they have a conversation just before, don't they, where J.K. Simmons is very kind of personable and nice to Andrew, and he says, like, look, I don't want to be that guy who's like abusive and horrible, but I think you need to, if I just say like, oh yeah, good job.
The two most damaging words in the English language.
Exactly.
Like,
the people won't improve.
I mean, I can't stand that sentence.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the juvenile spirit in you thinks, Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when I first saw it, I was 20 or 20, not massively young, but still a lot happens in 5 years.
Yeah.
And you watch it again now and you go, like, my overriding response to this was, if I was in his, like, extrapolate it to yourself, I want to be a writer. Let's say there was some facsimile where a writing tutor was being that, like, unreasonably harsh. I'm
just picturing our lecturers.
I know. It wouldn't push me to better myself. I would just say, fuck off.
Yeah.
And the film makes the argument that losers do that. Like, the person who keeps doing it, if they drop out or quit, then they were never up to the task. I'm like, no. That's just a psychotic way of looking at things. And I feel like my overriding is, it's just, you fat slug. Well, not fat. You fucking evil slug. Get out of my face. How do you still have a job? That would be my response.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have met teachers that were that colour a cunt, but...
Right. Okay.
Some of what they did were very good. I'm not a massive fan of like negative reinforcement.
No,
as a way of going forward.
Well, I mean, you need someone who's receptive to that for it to work. You need a sub in that kind of like sub-dom relationship.
And I'm not necessarily that kind of person.
No,
but it depends on the person.
Right.
Like, a big example I could use would be like work, where, I did a shift in the kitchen, and the people who were telling me what to do came across very negatively, and that the way it came across, what they said, didn't help, and it made me feel like shit.
Right.
But then when like my pub manager does it, he's doing it on a level of he'll say like one thing, but then you'll go, oh right, shit, yeah, okay, and that pushes you. So in that regard, like,
does he do it in like a negative way or a positive?
He'll say something negative, like a basic example, like he'll walk in the thing and be like, floor's a shithole, and then you're like, oh okay. Right, because obviously the thing for him is you've got to focus up. Is that a similar thing to like when your dad is angry with you, but he's not shouting at you, he's just kind of like talking very low and it's like, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. Is it that kind of thing? I'll transfer that to my mum, but
okay,
but
yeah, it's that kind of idea.
My dad doesn't do angry well.
Okay, but yeah, I think it's that kind of idea, isn't it?
Yeah. So I suppose for me, when you say put yourself in that position of Andrew in the film, I think I would. The problem is whether I would have responded completely, I probably would have given up realistically. But the fact, like when you get that scene where he is nice and it's like, oh, I think that's the problem for me is if I was putting myself in that position, I'd like to think I could play out an end scene not too dissimilar because I would have learnt from the experience.
Yeah, I just don't think I would have. Maybe like learned from it, but like, how old is he meant to be? Like 18, 19?
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, I think back to when I was that age, and it's like when J.K. Simmons is treating him the way he does in the beginning, and he just cries. Like, okay, if I was in university and a lecturer started talking to me like that, I think I'd have cried, but I certainly wouldn't have stood up for myself.
No,
I would have just like taken it. But yeah, you look at it just a few years later and just think, if they'd done that now, you just go, fuck off.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to? You know what I mean? So I tried to put myself back in the shoes of that age sort of thing. What do you think about Andrew himself?
Oh, do I like him?
I think he's profoundly unlikable.
I think, but that's the thing. I think he's unlikable because of his commitment.
I think he's unlikable because of his. Well, okay, in the sense that his commitment makes him be a certain way.
Yeah, because he's acting because he is in his head so committed to the cause of I want to be this, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Even when he's getting the shit thrown at him, that's his goal. That's what he wants. That's it.
Yes, but that's it. It's not like you can't, in a way, sort of condone or sort of support his. I can't anyway. Can't fully support his quest to be the best at what he does because he is condescending.
Yes.
To other people.
Yeah.
He's not like a humble servant of his craft. You know what I mean? He's great at it, obviously, and he wants to be capital G great, but it's at the cost where he's just rude and kind of. This word is thrown around a lot these days. I think the character genuinely might be autistic.
Oh, I've never considered that.
On the rewatch, the scene where he's breaking up with his girlfriend and she's like sarcastically saying, oh, what, like, you're going to get so famous and you're not going to have time for me because I'm just a nobody who goes to this college and, and he goes, yeah, exactly, you get my point.
Yeah.
Like, he has no idea that she's being...
Is it
that or is he just an asshole?
Well, I was going to say, is it possible that it's just a case of he's so wrapped up in his quest to become this amazing drummer that he just doesn't... Because that's sort of occupying all of his bandwidth.
It's a step too far, though, don't you think?
In a way, she's kind of doing the work for him, though, doesn't he? He doesn't have to sort of... Like, she's giving him this out, and he's just taking it.
But a normal human being wouldn't respond that way, though. A normal human being would go, no, it's not that. It's just, look, I've got to concentrate on this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wouldn't just go, yeah, you get my point. Like, thinks that she's on the same level as him. That's such, like I'm not the best social kind of... I don't pick up the...
Yeah.
But that is a social cue where she is obviously being sarcastic and kind of,
I mean, I can't remember... I know the scene you're on about. I can't remember. Is it, like, when he says it back, though, and he's like, yeah, you get my point, is that him being sarcastic?
No,
back,
it's not like... It's not like... I know what you mean. He's not, like, meeting her aggression with, yeah, you get my point. He literally just, like, oh, yeah, well, good, we're on the same page. That's basically how he responds.
In which case, I would say... I understand what you're suggesting. I would say maybe that's him so in with his own. She must get that I'm doing this. Like for him, it's okay. She's taking the piss, but she says she understands. Fuck it, I'm just going to run.
To be
with
devil's advocate again, though, is that just a product of autism? Just is thinking that typically.
Well, don't get me wrong.
Possibly, but
like 100% convinced that Damien Chazelle didn't write it in the mind that Andrew had autism.
No,
I don't think that is intentional.
Well, yeah, I don't think there's much else in the film other than just his like level of commitment to it. There isn't really anything else in the film that.
Well, I'll get to like one little example.
I mean, I would say in terms of level of commitment, you could argue the toss then, because
that could be a feature
the focus, because
the scene
generally speaking, autistic people do have that kind of focus.
The scene with his family. He just completely ridicules the other guy. Like,
no, but that scene is clearly. Like,
I know it's a defense. It seems like a defense.
Yeah, it's clearly like because these guys are sort of getting all this credit from the family. They're like athletes, right?
Yeah,
yeah, they're athletic.
Yeah,
and it's it's great. Oh, he's gonna be great. He's gonna be good. And then they kind of like dismissively ask, "Oh, how's the drumming going, by the way?"
Yes, I know that.
He's kind of responding to that.
I do relate to that. Like whenever my family ask me where I'm at, they say, "How's your book coming along?" I haven't wanted to write a book since I was 7. So, so I get that. Like, they don't really know. It has no import to them.
Yeah.
But it's the way... Because he basically slags off his father. He says, like, oh, to end up being a teacher. He doesn't say that specifically.
No.
Yeah, he says something like, oh, I'd rather go out being considered one of the best of all time than just a nobody who teaches... Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
There's that. And then there's the... When he's being forced to square off against the other drummers...
Yeah.
And he's just openly like, that fuck's not getting on my drum set. Like, it's just completely blatant, you know what I mean? There's no like... And I know they're trying to set up that it's a very competitive... which goes into my one critique, I suppose, of the film.
Mm-hmm.
I really hate the redhead drummer.
Okay.
He's consistently smug, right? In situations where it's completely inexplicable.
Okay, but that's good, right? Because because we're not on his side. We're on Neiman's side.
At one point, Neiman says in front of this guy, like, that fuck is shit. Like, he's not getting... And then J.K. Simmons walks off, and then the writer goes, oh, you know what Flash is like. He's more bark than bite. I'm like, he just called you a cunt right in front of you. And it's like, it doesn't even, like, compute with him.
He looks like a proper jock, though, doesn't he?
He does.
Probably wouldn't just compete with him.
Yeah,
know?
But he just seems completely oblivious to Neiman's treatment.
No, I think that's fair.
Jocks are thick as shit.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. I'm not saying all of them are thick as shit, but I think that in that case, he's like this, he's a drummer, but he's like a big muscly guy. He's in college. Like, he's probably got nothing to worry about.
And the muscles are from drumming.
They're in a conservatory, aren't they? So that's the thing. I don't think that attracts many jocks.
Don't they have like halls of residence? Or, like,
they do, yeah.
They
but they go to a music college.
Yes. It's still a college. Like,
I know, but I'm saying
the collegey things.
I know that, but I'm saying it's not like a sociology course. It's going to attract everyone, is it? It's like these are musicians,
Okay.
And I don't think there are
I'm
many.
Sure certain musicians would also go for like the jockish type,
I don't think so.
No, I think they would.
There are about to be some jocks, if you like, in music.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't think that's a thing. Name one. Name one jock musician.
No.
No, go on.
No, don't be like that.
Name one famous jock musician.
No, don't be like that.
Why?
Okay, so you're just not willing to accept that it's possible.
No, I said there are, just by sheer odds, there are some musicians who are jocks, whatever that means.
Yeah. But I'm talking about like women. Women would be, if women at a music college would go for like jockish guys.
I guess.
If they were about,
Okay, yeah. Yeah, all right.
It's not even...
I don't dispute that.
This isn't even like spiraling off from a major point I was making.
No, I know.
But yeah, that's...
the women thing, I didn't know that had anything to do with what you were saying.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I meant. Like, he's in college and he looks like that, so he's probably got nothing to worry about in terms of...
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, rag.
Do you have any critiques of the film?
I don't really know.
Is this the one film where it's kind of okay not to have critiques?
No.
Okay, then.
Only because no film is perfect. And I think it's kind of...
What film did you not have a critique of on your list?
Parasite, but I was very careful to caveat that that's because I'm in the honeymoon phase. And I will have critiques for it as time goes on.
Yeah.
If you don't, can we circle back to this one day?
We can. Ask me in 3 podcasts time.
I think it'll be...
No. We'll bring it up because...
Yeah, ask me in 3 podcasts what I think.
What was it? We will without a doubt bring this up because Parasite will come up in a podcast coming out in about a year's time. So we'll bring this up.
What?
When we talk about the adaptation, that's not going to happen.
No.
Oh, I see. Well, it's going to come up when we actually talk about the film as well.
Well, I was to say, when we talk about the film, the adaptation, and we are most likely probably going to do one of these for the best films of 2020.
Yeah, probably.
So,
yeah. Okay.
So we'll ask you then. But surely at that point, it'll be less like, aha, we caught Sam out in this, like, he was wrong.
Oh, no, I'm going to remember.
Oh my god, we finally found a film with no flaws whatsoever. Surely that would be the more, like...
No, I'm gonna circle back to this in a year's time and be like, so Sam, a year ago you said...
Yes, but also what point would you be proving...
that you're fallible?
No, I've said... But you hang on, whoa. Oh, so if I don't have something bad to say, then I'm fallible.
Then you're fallible.
Okay.
But I'm saying it'll be more, like, worthy of discussion, the fact that we found the perfect film.
Right. Yes.
The film that genuinely has no flaws.
Okay.
Which,
Yeah.
You know...
Yeah.
I'd say... whether it has flaws or not, nothing's like really stuck out to me.
We talked about Parasite for like an hour and a while, and we said nothing, and we're talking about it again.
I know.
During another film.
It's that good.
Yeah.
Going off my memory, I haven't watched it in a few weeks.
What, Parasite?
Parasite.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're so shit. It's so good.
Yeah, thank you. Is it?
Yes.
It's a perfect film, don't you know?
It's a perfect film. Well, here's the thing.
Honestly, mate, should win an Oscar. I'm not gonna lie.
It will win at least one.
Should win 2.
I'm just going to bring up the picture of Parasite again. Oh, YouTube listeners, here's the picture
Okay.
of Parasite.
Oh look, they're looking at some art.
Oh my god.
It's so metaphorical.
Yes.
He's so metaphorical. Yeah, going off my memory of it, the only thing I could think at the moment that would be a flaw is like a continuity error or something. But I hate seeing those, and I hate being directed to them as well.
Yeah.
Like there've been a few times we've been watching something, you go, oh, have you done it? No, it's like, I don't want to know the error, because it just completely takes me out of it.
Okay, fair enough.
But I will find something bad to say about Parasite.
No, but okay.
Maybe its flaw will be its perfection makes me fallible. Maybe that's its flaw.
That can't be your get out jail free card on this. Okay, no, but the point is whether I don't know, because I think it's very well acted. I think the script is very good. I like the music. So for me, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know if it's got a flaw. Maybe I'm being like...
Well, this is your number one to be.
Yeah. Maybe I'm ignoring the flaw.
Yeah. I mean, by flaw, it doesn't have to be like a fundamental, like, structural problem or anything. Just like I hate this, I don't like this detail or something. Like, mine for this was the drummer smug. I don't like the other drummer.
No, yeah. And I do agree with that. That is fair enough.
Yeah. We don't have to sit here until you come up with a critique.
Yeah, if you genuinely don't, that's
no,
fine.
But if I come up with one, when I circle back to Sam not having
just
a critique
shout at it in the middle of the conversation.
It'll be the middle of like another podcast, and I'll just be like, so Whiplash, it was shit on this front.
Yeah.
And I'll just do
this
that.
one irrelevant front that doesn't affect the film at all.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that for me, I don't really have much else to say
No,
on Parasite.
I've about Whiplash.
I was
What did you say?
Parasite's that good.
Yeah, I'm
you
going to
said
say it
Parasite?
skyrocketed up my list. So it's not even 7, so this whole thing's pointless.
I would say...
Where would it be now? Obviously, I'm not going to go back.
No,
when we change it, but...
at the moment, 5th.
Okay.
I can see
so it's tied with-
I can see it going to 4th.
No
Higher than that, though.
Yeah.
What I will say is, when we've gone through our number ones, if we recap on what our top 10s were...
We will do that.
I will say, given time, I will discuss maybe odd changes I might have made.
Okay.
Something me and Sam have just had a conversation earlier.
Okay.
Of possible...
Are you giving me more work to do, Eddie?
No, you've seen these films.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not... I'm not saying I am would change it. I'm saying, given time, things I've watched and stuff since and thought about since, maybe like there would have been like an odd different film. Is what I think. But we'll allude to that properly at the end when we go through the list.
Are you at least happy with the 10 you have? Because we now know your entire top 10. Are you happy with that being like a matter of public record? For at least for
if
the
this
time
had to be carved on stone.
Yes, like these are...
I'd maybe change the number 10.
Okay.
Because
I think at some point, like Jordan and I particularly, we like lists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Favourite films, favourite TV shows, awards for each year, mental.
What was that? It's so like buried in the show. I don't know how to find it. There,
Right.
thanks, Eddie. I can't get rid of that because I was talking as well.
I'm drinking a drink. If anyone wants to know,
I remember the days when we like shilled ourselves out, and now you're not even saying the brand.
Well, they're not going to sponsor us, are they?
This is episode 11, part 3. We become professional by now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so buried in the show I don't know how to find it again. But The West Wing, when Bradley Walsh
Whitford.
Potato.
When
when he talks to that person who's like nerding out about something, and he's like, "Oh, because if I talk to you about this thing, then we're gonna make our favorite lists, and we're gonna blah blah."
Right.
And we were both watching, and we were like, "I feel attacked."
Yeah, you're personally attacked. Yeah. Yes, we are list people. I think film people generally are list people. To be honest. Yeah. That was leading to a point.
Yes.
You see.
You were talking about having this like carbon stone. Am I happy with the list? And then you were talking.
Right. Yes, and I think we've come across this problem. If we've ever done like our top 50 movies, around the 20-30 mark, the ordering starts to become quite arbitrary.
Yes.
And even in the top 10 list of the decade, I gotta say, it feels kind of its time.
Well, if I'd stuck to going back through like my top 10 of each year of the decade, if I'd stuck to those lists, there's a couple of films like Sicario wouldn't be in my top 10.
Yeah.
If I'd stuck rigidly to those lists. These lists are obviously susceptible.
They're malleable.
Yeah. They can change, but I think for the time being,
yes,
it's fine.
Yeah,
these are fine lists we have
now at the 11th hour, almost literally at the 11th hour. We're essentially saying that all of this is completely futile, and
you've listened to so much shit from us over these last 3 parts.
Yeah,
and
it was all for nothing.
We're now saying none of it really matters.
Yeah,
you suck it.
Yeah.
With one exception, I would say. Are we done with Whiplash, by the way?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Obviously, because it was on both your lists.
Okay.
I didn't know if you'd had anything else you wanted to just throw in, like why it was on your list where it was or whatever.
No, I feel like after the discussion that was had about it being a tragedy and him possibly maybe being autistic, I don't have anything as deep as that, so it would feel weird to go back to like surface level Whiplash.
Okay.
So I'm kind of done with that.
Just throw it out there. The editing's good.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah,
yeah.
But it's jazz music, you know.
It is, yeah.
You know, you're editing to music most of the film. The editing is going to be good, but it is still good editing.
It is.
But yes, I was going to say, with one exception, this whole like, it's all like doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
Because my favorite film of the decade.
Before you get to that.
Oh no. Okay.
There's one.
He just did all that setup, and you just shut
it. Forget the setup.
There's one extra little. We'll repeat the entire setup.
Okay.
So you've got a runway
to
fly off at the end of. I think one of the strengths of Whiplash is that, like all these things we've talked about, we've not exactly gone Freudian with it, but it kind of belies the actual depth that the film presents in a way. It's a very kind of simple, basic story. There's not much in the way of like to unpack. It's all there for you.
Yeah.
It's a boom, boom, boom ABC kind of story.
Yeah, it is structured like a thriller in a way. You have like the drum sequences in the same way that the exam sequences in Bad Genius are like the heist portions.
Yeah.
The drumming sequences are like the action scenes.
Yeah.
You know?
But it lends itself to this level of kind of, there are things to talk about on a deeper level. And I really like films like that.
Yes.
Like Sicario, I suppose, which are kind of very simple constructions.
Yes.
But yeah, there's much to it.
And also, like what you were saying about, like when you're younger, you sort of take the ending one way, and then as we're getting older, we're taking the fact that you can do that, where like it means multiple things to different people.
The best kind of film that evolves with you. Yeah.
Yes, and it doesn't feel like it's doing that as well. It doesn't feel like an ending where it's like, oh, this is like meaning something.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Do you want to repeat the setup?
Okay, well, what was the setup? It was.
I don't know. I don't know what you're going to say. So.
That this is all pointless because.
Oh yeah, with one exception.
With one exception,
because
my favorite film of the decade is also.
Yeah.
My favorite film of all time.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Yes. What are you doing?
I did a drum roll for Whiplash.
Okay.
So I can do something vaguely appropriate.
Are you doing solo?
No, I'll strum.
Okay.
So do you want to? Is that all you were going to say before you said?
Well, I was going to announce the film, but is this the lead into the announcement?
So your favorite film of the decade is your favorite film of all time as well.
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
Jordan. Film number 1 is
Joker.
I knew you'd do that. Because I was planning on doing a similar joke.
Oh, were you really?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Completely like. Not a great film, but also why that bad film?
No, but like, who's going to give a shit about that? Like, if I say Joker is my favorite
People
film of all
might
time,
legitimate-
and
yeah.
then I say it's actually Scott Pilgrim versus the World,
Yeah.
you're gonna get people who'd be like, "You fucking what's he doing?"
I gotta say, you're lucky you're doing this podcast with two people who appreciate the irony that was, with which that sentence was laden. Because little do you know that I've got a shotgun cell taped to the bottom of this table.
Oh right, okay.
you
And
too,
had I
yeah.
taken it at face value, Jordan wouldn't have a face in it.
I'm not the only one with a gun at the table, though. That's cool to know.
So, Jordan, your favourite film of the decade and of all time is
Scott Pilgrim versus the World,
Yay.
which astute listeners would have figured that
I
out.
figured out what I was going to say. Yeah.
Can I just say, I genuinely thought you were probably going to do another, just another random film.
And it's Black Panther. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Yes. Okay, so
What's it about?
in the mysterious land of Toronto, Canada, Scott Pilgrim is dating a high schooler.
What a paedophile.
Well, not quite. It is a bit weird because, as we find out, Scott Pilgrim's like...
Because she's Asian.
Yes, exactly, yeah. Oh, God, the Asians are taking a pounding on this podcast, haven't they?
They have,
Between Parasite
coronavirus.
that as well, yeah.
They're on a bad week.
Yeah.
Those,
I do wonder
those
if...
Asiatics.
I can't... Because we've been going for how long now in terms of recording time?
27 days.
Yeah. So I do wonder, like, if you listen to this in succession, like, the references we make to, like, current news, how you can tell how long this is
I would say,
spanned.
the coronavirus is fairly new.
Yeah, it's like a couple of days old, that news.
By the time we get to number one, it's like, so we're Skyping over the various rockets that we're on. Space.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, the signal's a bit ropey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just casually hiding out in Korea somewhere.
Yeah.
South.
Yeah. Nah, I took a holiday.
No, it's all
What's
hands
wrong
on
with
deck now. Even North Korea.
Even North Korea on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's dating a high schooler.
He's dating a high schooler. He's like in his early 20s, this Scott Pilgrim. He's a bit of a slacker. He's the bassist in like this garage band. And she's a 17-year-old high schooler. But then one day, Scott Pilgrim meets Ramona Flowers, who is...
attractive.
She's attractive. Yeah. She's,
Sorry.
well, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, so yes, she is rather attractive. And she is like this sort of mysterious, kooky...
American.
American person. Oh yeah, I should say the film takes place in Canada.
You did say.
Did I?
Mysterious land of Toronto, Canada.
Well, there we go then.
Yeah.
I'm glad someone's paying attention.
I see everything.
So Scott Pilgrim...
Yeah, I know.
Stop talking over me. I just want to do my thing.
Do your thing.
Yeah, okay.
Solo, do it.
Okay. So...
Low. Go.
So Scott is instantly taken by Ramona Flowers and he wants to date her, and she says, okay, you can date me, but in order to do that, you have to defeat my 7 evil exes. And that is the film. Scott Pilgrim wants to date the girl, and in order to date the girl, he has to defeat her 7 evil exes.
Yes.
It's an Edgar Wright film.
It's
the best Edgar Wright film of the decade.
Yep.
Hands down.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of other Edgar Wright films, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
World's End and Baby Driver are the two competitors. We'll all have different answers, I think, as to whether it's the best Edgar Wright film of all time. Naturally, it being my favourite film means that I do think it is the best film of all time, though Hot Fuzz is a very close second. I'm sure you have a different answer.
I think Edgar Wright's best film is Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
I would concur with that.
Oh, okay. I thought
Shaun
we were
of
going
the
to go
Dead.
for like
No,
one each.
Shaun of the Dead's, generally speaking, when I come to like my top 10 all-time films, third or fourth.
Yeah, at the risk of alienating the proper cineasts, Shaun of the Dead, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't my favourite film. It is my favourite film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, obviously...
So you've upset the TV people saying that Breaking Bad is the best show, and you've upset the...
Have I upset the TV people by saying Breaking Bad's the
I
best
think
show?
in the first podcast you said something like, you expect like a better answer than Breaking Bad when people say what's the best show on television.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's such a behemoth, you know?
Yeah. That's true.
Yes. It's just great. It's a great film. I love it.
Why is it so great?
I think part of it is just... There are certain films that you watch, and this is obviously a completely subjective thing. There are certain films that you just watch and you just feel like, oh, that's just, you know, that feels almost like it was made for me. You know, just like the way the film is made. I love Edgar Wright as a filmmaker anyway, and he's in full like Edgar Wright mode during this film. The music that's in the film, the soundtrack is amazing, and bolstered by the fact that all of these songs are completely original. It's a completely original soundtrack.
Written by Beck.
Written by Beck.
Primarily.
There's a song in there by Metric. There's a couple of other ones as well. don't quite remember them off the top of my head.
Broken Social Scene, I think, is one of the bands.
All right. And just like the whole visual language that the film uses, it's got this sort of like, naturally because it's like, you have to defeat 7 enemies, it's got like a video game setup almost, and it uses that visual language. It's kind of brings a little bit of comic bookness into it as well.
It's based on one, isn't it?
Because it's based on a graphic novel, exactly, yeah.
Is it a graphic novel?
Yes, I believe it is.
Okay.
It's like a series of...
It's volumes.
Yes, volumes. Okay. And it's not a direct adaptation. There's a lot of stuff that didn't make it into the film.
Yeah, I think the format of the series is that it's like an X per volume.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think the guy who wrote the graphic novels was one of the writers on the film.
I think he was.
Yes. So yeah, it's still like, if people have read that, because I haven't read the graphic novels, but I tend not to. That's not stuff I do anyway, because reading.
Even graphic novels.
It's like a running joke amongst us that I don't read.
/ fact. Come on.
That I've never read, I suppose.
Okay,
that would be a better... I have read books before. I just,
when was the last time, just for context, when was the last time you read a book?
I don't even remember.
Okay. We're talking like childhood.
Oh yeah, in school, when you had to like read books to up your reading level. Okay. I think that was probably
I mean, you're reading one right now.
I am.
And I read a play last week.
Yes.
But prior to that, the last time I probably read something that wasn't a magazine.
Right. You read magazines, how 90s of you.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, usually one specific magazine.
Playboy.
No.
FHM?
No, it's not that kind of magazine.
Okay.
It's Empire.
Oh, okay. I was going
to. I was
trying to think of a gay magazine. What a gay magazine? Men's Health, is that a gay magazine? It looks like a gay magazine.
I can't say I've ever picked up Men's Health in my entire life.
No, I've just seen, the black and white photos of men with 6-packs on the front. What were you saying, George?
Oh, that I don't read?
Yes.
That's pretty much it. I don't read.
Yeah, so you haven't read the graphic novels.
I haven't read the graphic novels.
Nor looked at them.
Nor looked at them.
Yeah.
But yes, I think there's still like... it's a faithful adaptation, and then it carries the spirit of the... Which I think is the best kind of adaptation. That it's not just like directly... I think this is like... Because, people often... When video game movies come out, there's often the conversation of like, because they're pretty much always bad.
Yep.
So there's always the conversation of, is a good video game movie possible? And I think one of the reasons that they're typically not is because they try to copy, like, they just try and copy the games. Whereas I think the thing that you need to take from the game is kind of like you can take, like, obviously the characters and the story and the lore, but you need to sort of take the spirit of, well, that's the stuff you need to really hone in on. It's like, what is it, like, Sonic will come up in the future, obviously, but like, what is the spirit of Sonic? What is the spirit of like Assassin's Creed? What is the feel of those?
I think the fundamental problem, isn't it, with video game adaptations is if the game is story and detail heavy, like Assassin's Creed,
or a Rockstar game like Red Dead,
it's already. Well, Red Dead even more so because it is a cinematic game.
I think there's like people who've literally just taken the cutscenes from Red Dead and edited them together, and it is basically a complete film.
Yeah,
longer even. It's like a few hours.
Yeah, so those are completely pointless. Those adaptations, or it's a game where the player experience is what's integral.
Yes,
and so you can't translate that to an objective.
Yeah, the thing that is good about it is the thing you lose in translation.
Yeah, so the only. I guess the only way to decently adapt a video game would be to transfer its energy into a cinematic form.
Yes.
Obviously, this isn't a video game adaptation, but it has that aesthetic.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It has that kind of
Obviously, you got the whole level up bit and everything. Obviously, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
You've got like the getting a life where he like grabs like an extra life.
Well, this is one of the things I love most. I love the aesthetic. Yeah. I love. Again, it's sort of like Nightcrawler. It just ticks a lot of my personal boxes. I like snow.
Yes. Canada, there's a lot of snow.
Yeah, I think I saw it for the first time on Boxing Day 2010.
Okay.
So it was snowing.
Oh, okay.
So that kind of helped.
I see.
The design of his crappy apartment.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's just like this wooden like basement almost, isn't it?
It's like a log cabin almost, yeah. With like a little window up high, inexplicably high.
Yeah.
The 90s-ness of it.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that there's the CDs, like physical media, like math rock section and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And dive bars.
Yes.
Where little garage bands play. It's sort of a nostalgic film in a way.
Yeah.
Not just for the 80s video game-ness.
Was
but
it
like
shot on film? Do you know if it was shot on film?
I wouldn't have thought so, just because of how much.
Okay.
No, I think it was digital.
It feels like it's shot on film. It has that like almost like tangibility that like film has. You know, it just looks more real. Even though we're like reaching an age where like 4K, 8K, maybe even 16K are like now things we can do. And I think regular film reel, it's like 6K or something.
Right.
That's kind of the resolution of film. But even that, like, it just like there's something about like the graininess and the image that just looks better.
I've been thinking a lot about nostalgia recently.
Okay.
And I think that the time that people are nostalgic for, it's not just their youth. I've seen it a lot with, say, people who were born at the tail end of the 80s, so never really experienced the 80s.
Yeah.
They tend to be nostalgic for the 80s.
Yes.
I was born in 94, you 95. So most, we don't have many memories pre-turn of the millennium.
No.
And yet I'm particularly nostalgic for the 90s. 80s music is my thing.
Yeah.
But I like CDs and that era of video gaming.
Yeah.
And dive bars and pre-internet, you know. But we were kind of modern enough. But mobile phones weren't really a thing.
Yeah.
I'm nostalgic for that, even though I never got to experience that. So I think this film kind of just is a massive tick in that column for me.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to... This is the problem, is because I love the film so much.
It's too much to say.
Exactly, yeah. You're going to have to
try
and like...
I'll just go through my points then.
Okay.
And then you can springboard off that to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
The only note that I have, it's one very, very minor note. Oh, because he's a bassist.
Yeah.
Yes, because he only plays one note.
Exactly.
Because he's a bassist.
Yeah.
Fuck you, bassist mutual friend we have.
Who's definitely not listening.
Who's definitely not listening.
If you tell us you're listening. If you listen, send me a message that you've heard this joke. Go on.
Well, he didn't message anyway.
No, I know, but I just directly commanded him to message. So.
All right.
Given 6 years, you might get one.
Yeah.
But yes, it's very, very minor. There's a moment in the film...
Minor key?
Yes, minor key. Do bassists even have keys? I don't know.
Nah, I don't think so.
No. It's just one note.
Just one note?
Yeah.
We've seen School of Rock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not even going to give you a springboard. I'm just going to go into it. I think it's after the scene where Scott and Ramona sleep together for the first time, and he goes back into his apartment. He shares an apartment, we should say, with the best character in the film, Wallace Wells, played by Kieran Culkin.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he's the best character in the film.
Yes.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
He
has one competitor, but he doesn't win. Yeah, Wallace Wells is the best character in the film.
Yes, he is. Because he's just so, like...
above it all.
Yeah, it's kind of black. Because it's sort of like... The film kind of starts off as... I will come back to my critique, I promise.
You have a critique?
Well, it's very, like...
Minor critique.
The film is...
What?
No, it's just like... if I say anything, he's going to try and make another joke.
No, okay,
I can't give him opportunities to make jokes on this comedy podcast. It's just not. It's not.
How dare
Yeah, when did we hit?
I didn't get the memo. Yeah.
Well, it's fun. Fun is in the title. It should be
fun limited, to be fair.
Yeah.
Or fun filtered.
I would say, to be fair, we did one podcast where things got a little bit dark, and we did apologise that it wasn't as fun as it usually is.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes. So the film kind of starts off, even though its visual style is kind of, like I said, video gamey, and one of the first images in the film, it's actually the title card, is the band start playing a piece of their music, and the camera sort of pans back, and the room is just kind of like extending further and further and further away. That's obviously not based in reality, because we've already seen the room, and the room is not that large. But the film remains kind of grounded for a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Or kind of grounded, that's the thing I should have emphasized. And then the first X shows up, and it just becomes like, it's just an all-out action film now. And
it's kind of, sort of, this is a fresh observation, so if it doesn't pan out, I can only apologise.
Okay.
I haven't thought this through. Because it's about kind of 20-something kind of slacker, like none of them really have a proper ambition. Well, they do, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That sort of generation.
Yes.
Which we are a part of which we are a part, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of film, the whole film is sort of like, in inverted commas, it's sort of ironic, in the sense that it blends reality and surreality so blasé, in such a blasé way.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's like a shrug almost. The style is a shrug.
Yes.
By which I don't mean it's flaccid.
No.
But do you know what I mean? It's all kind of like, oh, whatever, man. Like, whatever goes. Whatever.
Yeah. Like, also, there's a musical number now, I guess. You know?
Yeah. You know,
I guess, like, you know, the room is extending and they're, like, fighting and he's turned into coins. And
that sort of spirit combined with its visual style, like, it's similar to, I think, the Lego movie we were talking about, where if you're not on that level, then you will hate it. And I think it's almost like, you know those alarms that all people get outside the house that only really young people can hear?
Oh, yeah, I can't remember the call, but yeah, the frequency.
The film is like that. If you're like, you know, unless you're really into film or that type of film, it's just going to completely bamboozle.
Yeah, you're just not going to win.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
I would say, yeah, because Scott Pilgrim is given...
I've spoken to people of our age, like even of our age, who can't stand Scott Pilgrim. When I was in university, I would say like, oh, it's my, you know, because I was on a film course, like, oh, what's my favorite film of all time? And I would say Scott Pilgrim, and it would just get like the strangest reactions, the strangest faces, just like, what?
Yeah.
Well, so it comes under the bracket of cult following.
Yes.
Yeah, because the film didn't do well. I think when it came out.
No, technically a box office failure. Yes.
I mean, when I first saw it, I really wasn't sure what was going on.
I will say, because you showed it to me. You were the person who showed this to me. We watched it over your house.
Yeah.
I can't remember when, but it was not long after the film came out. I didn't like it on the first watch.
Yeah.
I think because... I'll let you speak again in a moment.
Yeah.
Because I still have a point to go back to. So we're just like tangenting off into tangents. But I think it was around about the time where my film palette was still undeveloped.
Right.
So I was still very much like... I just kind of like, oh, that box office film that's coming out, that's what I like. You know, I watched the Transformers, and that was just cinema to me. And the idea of like more refined films and more like dramatic films, or like that, just like, oh, that isn't for me.
You've perfectly aligned with a point that I just came up with in my head.
Okay. I still haven't finished this point.
This is very quick. You mentioned Transformers, and it's not going to come up again. So
okay, all right.
Michael Bay once described his approach as fucking the frame.
Okay.
That was like his school of thought when it came to cinema.
Up the frame. He doesn't
fucking the frame. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's going down on the frame.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you are enjoying it. It's like treating the frame well. It's servicing its needs, rather than just like shoving its dick into your face.
Yes, it's a famous video at this point, but every frame of paintings. You did it again, Eddie.
You gotta let the man laugh.
Sorry, how can I not laugh at the man when he's just talking about fucking a frame?
Okay.
Going down on a frame.
Yeah.
But you know what? Yeah, fair enough.
No, it's a nice. It's a nice little. Yeah.
I should be a writer or something.
You definitely should.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, it's a famous video at this point, but every frame of paintings video on Edgar Wright, how to do visual comedy, perfectly. Like, a lot of things that I could say about this film, he just says in that video. So I'm just going to say, go watch that video if you haven't.
Cop out.
No, genuinely.
Yeah.
Like, you know. And also, it's a video essay, and because Edgar Wright benefits from being in a visual medium, he's like showing the examples as well. It's easier to show you than kind of describe.
Yes. So you were talking about your unrefined palette.
Yes, I was. Yeah. So the idea of a film that was kind of so, because those blockbuster films, even though they're like, you know, explosions and you know, ridiculous and all that sort of stuff, they are kind of grounded in reality.
Right.
In that, you know, it's just a very boring depiction of the events that are happening. So a film that's kind of as creative and loose with the way that it's depicting its events, that was just kind of like a bizarre idea to me. It's like, oh, I don't know how to process this film.
Yeah.
So my initial reaction was kind of negative, but as time has gone on, it's just like, it's gotten better and better and better.
Appropriately for a video game inspired movie, it operates on many levels. And with that,
back to
I
Eddie.
bid my leave.
No, well, the thing I was gonna say, so I went to see it in the cinema when it was out. Yeah.
Okay.
I was supposed to be going to a gig.
We did.
With a friend of mine, and we got to the arena and we looked at the crowd and went, yeah, I don't think we're going to be all right with them amongst these people. And it wasn't even like it was. You know, it's not like I was going to see some like thrash metal thing. Like
Simon and Garfunkel.
No, I was going to see a band called LZ7, which is like a Christian rap rock kind of.
I don't know. They can get a bit mental.
Yeah.
But we were looking at the crowd and go, nah, I'm not sure about this. So
let's go watch Scott Pilgrim.
So I said to I phoned my mum and I said, well, we're in Manchester.
Yeah.
I don't really want to waste being up here.
Mm.
So we're going to go and see a film. Don't know what's on the cinema. We're just going to go and see a film.
Mm.
So me and my friend went and we just looked and we went, oh, okay. I think I've seen a trailer for that. It looks fairly funny.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when I first watched it, I came out and my opinion was that I thought it was so bad that it was good.
Right. Okay.
Oh,
right.
That was my opinion.
It crossed the threshold.
Yeah, I was like, it's so beyond ridiculous.
Yeah.
That this is possibly a stroke of brilliance.
Yeah.
Like that was like my sort of thought thing. I then rewatched it a little while later and I was like, okay, maybe it's not quite the stroke of brilliance that I initially think, but it is a good film.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I think it's wacky as shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And funny as well, I would say.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's exactly
funny.
my type of sense of humor. Type of sense of humor, sorry. That wasn't,
the scene where Chris Evans is skating, he's put to a challenge. He gets rid of Chris Evans by making him, skate down a thing to 200 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's dumb, but it's fun.
Yeah.
As you say, it's got that video game influence, which is.
Well, they explode when the X's are defeated. They explode into a cloud of coins. Points come out from
it's level up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was dumb but brilliant, and I think that's kind of my main review of it. Really, is I genuinely think dumb but brilliant, ridiculously fun.
Yeah.
It is. This thing. It is dumb, but I'm a fan of quite a lot of films that are dumb but brilliant.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put this in that camp.
Here's the thing. I've never known how to describe it, but it is... Okay, take the vegan police, for example.
Yeah.
A dumb person wouldn't come up with that idea.
No?
No.
I don't think they would.
Why? Why you say that?
I don't know. Instinct, I guess. I don't feel like if you, you're in a room with a bunch of, dumb comedy writers, and you're like, okay, come up with some comedy.
Right.
I don't think the vegan police would be a thing, It would just be I don't know, I'm talking the people who write quote unquote Adam Sandler comedies or something.
Right.
That kind of comedy is dumb comedy.
Okay.
Vegan Police isn't quite there, but it is kind of stupid as well.
No, it's silly, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it is.
It's not.
I
It's
think
not
that's what when
dumb,
I say,
but it's not intelligent comedy.
No,
when
it's
I
not,
say it's fun.
Yeah.
It's things like that. It's oh, okay. That's a bit ridiculous. It's a bit daft. When I say it's dumb but brilliant. I mean, it's a bit daft rather than.
Oh, it's incredibly.
Yeah. It's not stupid.
Daft.
No. Yeah. There is a word.
Yeah.
But we will find the word for it.
Yeah.
But none of us have said it yet.
No.
Maybe it's when you can coin.
No, I'm sure the word exists for it. Yeah, it's sort of. Here's the thing: it's anything you can say. It sounds like a criticism, like juvenile. But it has a childish energy to it.
Yes.
But the thing is, it's dumb but brilliant. I only reject that because I think it's kind of so elaborately crafted that I couldn't say it was dumb. It's punky, irreverent.
Yeah. I mean, the result
irreverent.
Irreverent. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the result is you nodded with I did it. I found the word. No, I don't remember the point. I think I was just speaking just to have right. Resolving the points I was already making. There's the moment during the first X, Matthew Patel, when he kind of shows up. That's the moment where the film is okay, this is we're completely ridiculous now.
Mm-hmm.
You even have that moment with what's her name? Who plays his sister? Anna Kendrick. Yeah. Where she just goes, what? Even the characters in it can't believe what's happening.
She's the only one, I think, isn't she?
Yeah, she has a couple of reactions where it feels okay, we're sort of doing a bit of we're allowing what we believe to be the audience reaction to be heard in this moment.
Yeah.
But Wallace Wells never, he just accepts everything that happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's oh yeah, you're fighting, I think it's the second fight with Chris Evans, where Chris Evans is just beating up Scott, and he's thrown Scott away, and Chris Evans is walking up to Scott. And Wallace just goes, Scott, Evil X, fight, and he kind of shrugs.
Yeah.
That's just his attitude through the whole film, and it's great. And there's a great because he's gay as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's a running gag of Anna Kendrick, Scott's sister, she goes with like her boyfriend, and then he ends up making
yeah,
with Wallace.
yeah.
And whenever they're in bed, like more men start appearing in like Wallace's bed.
It shows up as like one person, then two, and
like Scott kind of wakes up and he's like sharing a bed with Wallace, and then Wallace wakes up, and then two men behind Wallace kind of wake up, but they have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
But the original point, my minor critique, don't, because we'll be distracted again. Yes, it's after he sleeps with Ramona, he goes back to that apartment. Wallace is like making food or something, and it's filmed like a sitcom, and there's a laugh track. And it goes on for like a minute or two where he's kind of like
Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's like a Seinfeld type thing.
I think they use the Seinfeld music, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because they use like the Zelda. There's like a Zelda jingle in here. There's a load of sound effects from like Mario and Sonic and like famous video game sound effects that they all kind of pull in. Yeah, the visual language of this film is like video games and comic books and that kind of subculture. I don't know where sitcoms fit into that.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's like
a gag, isn't it?
It is a gag, but that feels like, okay, we're stepping outside the boundaries of what you've already like.
Yeah.
That's always kind of stuck out to me, that scene. It's like, yeah, it's a funny bit, and I understand it's probably making fun of like the sincerity of what Scott is saying and his feelings, because he's like, obviously he's in love and they're like very serious emotions, but on the outside, it probably looks ridiculous. Especially since he's been very kind of like, whatever, and now he's like getting passionate about, I found this girl, Ramona Flowers. But yeah,
I think that's a fair critique.
Like that.
I think I guess the only argument as the devil's advocate that I could make is that it's the 90ness of it. It's Seinfeld being a 90s sitcom.
And if you extend it to 90s, maybe I can accept it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's always stuck out to me. This is just a bit too out of...
You're right.
Yeah, a bit too out of place.
That's fair enough.
My critique is that the fight scene with the Katya and Nagy twins begins to test the limits of my fight patience.
Okay.
But it's over quickly.
Yes.
I think the film knows. Yeah, we kind of...
Yeah, because
it's in the same as Hot Fuzz, the same director, obviously. When Jim Broadbent holds a gun to Danny's head, they said in the commentary there've been like 4 or 5 standoffs, and they just have Simon Pegg go, "Frank, pack it in, you silly bastard!"
Yes.
It's like, we're done with the whole standoff thing.
Yeah, I think he even says it in the commentary for Scott Pilgrim, because you have his final confrontation with Gideon, which Scott loses. Then you have a second confrontation with Gideon.
Yeah.
Gideon. And then Nega Scott shows up. And it's, they say...
What Scott?
Nega Scott.
Okay.
It's a video game term.
I think it's Nega.
Nega, whatever.
Nega Scott.
What?
Nega Scott.
Okay.
Nega
What?
Scott. Yes.
Okay.
I know what you're trying to get us to do, Sam.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do anything. I'm clarifying what you're saying.
Okay, I've played video games where I've heard it pronounced that way.
What way?
I've forgotten for it because I know where this is going.
It's not going anywhere.
Oh, is that going to happen now? I've forgotten the pronunciation for a moment.
Of what?
So yeah, anyway, he shows up.
Who?
The Dark Double.
Okay. What?
You really didn't help it. That is not the way...
Yes, okay.
Yes. And they say in the commentary, it's like, this would be like the third fight scene in a row.
Yeah.
The third major fight scene in a row. And obviously that scene ends with like the two of them just coming out and they're like best friends. And he's like, oh yeah, we got a lot in common.
Yeah.
And it's literally him.
We're going to go get coffee.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it does a good job of rising the intensity. Obviously Matthew Patel is like the first one. So he's kind of an introduction to the kind of the absurdity of the film. Then you have Chris Evans, who's like a step up again. Then you have not Todd Phillips. Is it Todd Phillips?
No, that's the joke.
I know that's, but is his name Todd Phillips?
It's not Todd Phillips.
It's Todd Ingram.
Todd Ingram.
Yeah,
Todd Ingram, which I think is the highlight of the film in terms of the X's.
I would agree.
That is the vegan police.
Yeah.
Which again, when I was younger and I saw it for the first time, that felt like, okay, this is way too far. But since then, I've become completely okay with it.
That is like, oh, this film is just doing anything. It's fine. But they sell it to me just with Clifton Collins' delivery of, "You partook a plate of chicken parmesan."
Yes.
That gets me.
No vegan diet, no vegan powers.
Yeah.
And again, I love the moment where he punches Scott into the sky. And then Stephen Stills, who is the singer in the band.
Who's the second best character?
He's the second best character in the film. Yes, upon subsequent rewatches, he's become the second best character in the film. Yeah. But he says to Todd, "I've always wondered, how does like being vegan give you superpowers?" I just love that that's just like a fact of this universe.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not a bizarre kid. Like, no, there's a vegan police and vegan people have superpowers.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have the third one who has superpowers. Then you have the girl, which is like, oh, another thing. And then obviously the next major step up is just like the final guy. But we have 2 more X's. So yeah, it feels a bit like,
Yeah.
it's a big spectacle fight. They make a point, and they do a nice thing in that they kind of get the band to be a part of that fight sequence.
They score it.
They score it, yeah. That's really nice. But yeah, it does feel like a kind of okay. This is sort of transitioning us to the major villain now.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
I will say I do like their version of Black Sheep.
Yes. Yeah.
I do.
Oh yeah, as I said, the
really
soundtrack's
like
fantastic.
I think that's the best song.
Yes, absolutely.
Film,
I actually like Brie Larson.
Yeah,
she's great in it.
I don't like her in a lot of things.
No, she's great in this film. I didn't notice her like the first time. I think it's the first time we see her when she's on the phone with Scott, and she's like deliberately acting like melodramatically and over the top, and soapy. And it's the only time I think she does it. She's kind of an over the top character anyway, but she's really leaning into it on the phone. It's like, oh, I'm jealous. I gotta go, and she like puts the phone down and like dramatically looks away. It's moments like that where a film can just have a moment like that. I know I just kind of criticized the sitcom bit, but when a film can have moments like that where it's just like this weird tangent of comedy, and like, I'm completely fine with it.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, to sort of like round it off, obviously, it's the question you gave me of why, what puts it then above everything else? Because you said it's your favourite film of all time.
Yes.
As well as of the last decade. So what has escalated it, I suppose, above that then?
Well, I'll completely I'll be upfront by saying part of it is just complete subjectivity, because like I said, it just feels so befitting of what I like in film in terms of what is in the film. Like I said, that kind of video game inflected language and just kind of like the filmmaking and everything like that. I just love that kind of stuff, and it's all kind of like pushed into this one film, like this one package. But I do think it is kind of a shame that it's a kind of a Marmite film where it's sort of, certain people wouldn't be able to palate it, because it is a very well done film. It keeps that, again, watch the Every Frame a Painting video, but it keeps that, all the stuff that we love about Edgar Wright, just the extreme level of detail and the fact that his scripts keep looping back on themselves and recontextualizing lines. Like a neat little detail I found out on one of the more recent rewatches is that none of the characters blink in the film, I don't think. Oh, right. Because Edgar Wright wanted to visually call back to anime, I think, which obviously the characters don't blink because it's all drawn. So they even gave him the nickname, the Blink Nazi. The cast called him the Blink Nazi because if someone blinked during a take, they'd have to cut it.
Right.
So just all stop filming. Yeah, it's a fantastic film. Please watch it.
All right. Fair.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add, Sam? Because obviously it was on your list as well.
It was number 4 for you, yeah.
Not really. Scott's annoying.
Yes. We should probably have talked about the film rather than just details, like around the film, which I feel like we've kind of done. Yeah, he's not supposed to be likable, right?
I don't think it's a case of he's not supposed to be likable.
Okay.
He's definitely meant to be flawed.
Yes.
I think you're meant to like him broadly.
Okay.
To care about whether he gets.
What was Michael Cera's reputation before Scott Pilgrim? Because I feel like the casting was supposed to be, it was supposed to say something about Scott. The fact that Michael Cera is playing this kind of action hero.
Michael Cera's film career is not a wonderful.
No, playing the Michael Cera, like meek.
Yeah.
Kind of softly spoken. Yeah.
I would say one of his better films is Juno.
And
this.
Juno's a good kind of study of what he generally is known for.
He is fundamentally annoying.
Yeah.
And he's like even in the reason why I said is he's supposed to be unlikable is because even in the film he's kind of like they sort of allude to the fact that he's like cheated on like multiple women and that he's like he's just like his character. He's not a nice guy.
No.
No. He isn't. But at the same time,
he's not quite a bastard. But he's like he's in his
early 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the epitome of someone in their early 20s who they couldn't quite get the girl they want initially, so he settled for going for the nice, safe option.
Yeah.
But then the exciting option comes along, and obviously, he does a very early 20s thing.
Yeah, he's just kind of acting on whim almost, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I like you, I want you, I'm going to go for you now, even though I'm already in this committed relationship,
Yeah. But I would say that's just someone typical of their early 20s.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing as well is obviously the film is, because it's over the top, everyone is kind of a caricature, but at the same time it's still plausible enough. It still kind of feels like there are like, I know a character, I know a person like that. they're still kind of relatable in that sense. Where
Yes.
it's like, oh, I still recognize them as like caricatures of legitimate people.
Mhm.
You know, like Aubrey Plaza. She's in the film as like for a bit, and like her
As
thing
Aubrey Plaza.
as Aubrey Plaza, and
Yeah.
her thing is like as she swears, she gets like the censor bar across her mouth, and that's constantly happening. And,
Yeah.
you know.
Which I'm not gonna lie, that does annoy me, just because the noise that comes with it.
Right,
Yes,
okay.
yeah, because it's not the typical censor beep, is it? It's like
Distorted, isn't it?
it's like
Yeah.
a distortion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. It's great.
Yes.
Right. Well, in which case,
What are we? We did a drum
Yeah.
roll. We did a guitar. What do we do for this?
do something on the piano.
I'll tap at the
Tap the keyboard.
keys, yeah.
Do something on the piano. Got the keyboard there for a
But
reason.
it's not appropriate to the theme.
No.
I
If it was a
doing
synth,
things-
then maybe.
Yes.
But, you know.
Right.
I don't want to stop the recording, so I'm
Okay.
dubious about it.
My favourite film of the decade is The Social Network.
Ding, doo doo.
There you go.
Dun.
Yeah. Okay, so what's The Social Network about? It's about Facebook. No, it's not about Facebook. It's about Mark Zuckerberg in 2003. His girlfriend breaks up with him, and she calls him an asshole. And then he decides that he's going to humiliate her, essentially, by creating a website that compares photographs of Harvard college girls.
Yes.
It goes viral. It crashes the Harvard network. And he kind of realizes, oh, there's a potential thing in this. He's approached by twins, a couple of twins, obviously, who go to Harvard.
What are they called?
The Winklevoss.
Winklevoss, yes.
Or Winklevi, as Mark calls them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they approach him with the idea of doing building a dating website. And he sort of takes their idea sort of and runs with it and ends up creating Facebook. And the film is basically about the birth of Facebook through the prism of Mark's friendship with Eduardo, who is the co-founder of the company, and how their friendship kind of unravels as the company grows larger.
And framed by trials.
Yes, so yeah, the framing device of the film is Mark is being sued by his best friend, Eduardo, and the Winklevoss twins years after the creation of Facebook.
Yes. So the whole film is kind of, it's cutting back to those scenes. It's kind of told retrospectively in a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And complete with unreliable narration, because you're going off what they're saying in these stories, and it's not entirely clear if they're being truthful a lot of the time. Like the stand-up one in that sense is there's a scene in the film where Eduardo, he kind of says to Mark, I was your one friend. You had one friend. And it's played as this like proper dramatic beat. You're like, yeah, you know what? But in the commentary, I think it's either Fincher or Sorkin says, that is clear, he's manipulating the situation because Mark did have other friends.
Okay.
Like, I know the film presents him as like a social outcast.
Yes.
But he did. He's saying that in the courtroom setting to get a reaction, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the film doesn't play it that way at all. It plays it as a sincere, dramatic beat.
No, until you said that, I didn't realize that was even a moment.
He does. Dustin, there are other people in the company. Okay, how do I explain why I love this film so much?
Well, we'll open with, I think, the thing that's always brought up when The Social Network is discussed, which is this film is directed by David Fincher.
Yeah.
It's written by Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
Both known for their style.
Yeah, both auteurs. And the film manages to feel like it belongs to both of them. Yes. It feels like a David Fincher film.
Some way.
Yeah, and an Aaron Sorkin film.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a perfect combination of writer-director.
Is it the most perfect? Probably of this scale, it's the most perfect fusion of two distinct auteurs, you know?
I'd have to really think about that.
Okay.
There are obviously, I would say, like, better films, where the script and director have worked, like Scorsese and Schrader.
Yeah.
But Sorkin has such a distinctive writing style.
Yes.
And Fincher has such a distinctive directorial style.
Yeah.
But yes, it's difficult. Taxi Driver feels like a Scorsese film, I would say.
Okay.
Yes, this does definitely feel like two distinct voices kind of working in tandem.
Yes.
I remember...
And never talking over each other or kind of, sounding out the other.
Yes.
Drowning out the other, I should say.
I remember when it was announced that they were doing a quote-unquote Facebook film.
Yes.
And everyone rolled their eyes.
It was the same with the Lego movie.
Myself included. Yes.
It was like, why?
yeah,
what is the point?
What's the point?
Yeah, and then it happened, and you're like, oh, that's
Yeah.
why.
Well, it's not a Facebook film, is it?
No, it's not.
It's a Shakespearean drama.
Yes.
With modern clothes.
Yes.
It's basically about the two brothers, falling apart. It's kind of one of the flowers. My burgeoning film taste. 2010. I just remember seeing the DVD, and it was littered with all these accolades, all these quotes.
Yeah.
Like it was just the bulk of it was just 5 stars.
Yeah.
And I loved the design of it. The blue of Facebook, obviously.
It's a very minimal poster.
Very minimal.
Yeah.
And it's just like him standing amongst people, very grey, and I just loved it. So like, I'm just gonna buy that. So I'll forever associate that film with me starting to love film.
Okay.
So that's definitely a part of it. The score is amazing.
Yes.
Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like I've got techno melancholy, bristling with rage.
Okay.
Because there are moments you've got like the
that's you,
down,
isn't it?
What? Techno melancholy, bristling with rage.
Yeah, that's not something you've read. That's you, right?
That's me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't plagiarize.
No, just like the way you, like the smile you had on the face when you were saying it's like, yeah, that's a Sam. He's come up with that.
It's just, we've written down notes, obviously. So when something feels very rightly, it's because I've written it.
Okay.
Yeah, techno melancholy, bristling with rage. Like, yeah, it does have that side, like down, down, down. I remember Sorkin says in the commentary that he wanted a Cat Stevens song, I think.
Okay.
That was like relatively like upbeat, and then instead you just get this complete haunting. Oh, okay. Because the film starts with this really rapid fire dialogue.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that following the scene where Rooney Mara breaks up with
them?
Yeah. Okay.
The film starts in, and you're kind of dropped into the speed of the film, where you have to listen like for a while to even make out what they're saying.
Yeah, my mother, when she first watched it with me, she had to pause it.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, it's messing with my head."
Yeah,
like how fast they're talking.
It's great. It just drops you into it, and you've got you're playing catch up from the start.
Yeah.
And then you have this really rapid fire, like 10-page dialogue scene. It's over. He leaves, and all of a sudden, this down, down, down. It's like, oh, this isn't okay.
Yeah.
It's this film, I guess. And then you just get this like underneath all of it. Yeah. It's like, ooh, dark. Do you know what I mean? It's this horror-y almost. And that kind of goes with, I've read the script, obviously.
Of course.
And when it introduces Mark, it says something along the lines of his like stoic face masks a complicated anger.
Okay.
And that line always stuck out to me. And it's a line that I, in my primitive writing years, definitely just completely stole.
Okay.
And that sort of became a character-defining thing for me of stoicism that masked rage.
Yes.
And I think the score kind of does that. It's infused everything I ever write, I think. That idea.
Okay.
Yeah. The script is obviously impeccable.
Yes.
I think it's the best screenplay of the decade. Everything's the cinematography. You've said this before about films. I'm a big fan of films that are people in rooms talking.
Yes.
And if that looks good, the cinematography is.
Yeah, like I think a lot of people when they think of like great cinematography, they tend to think of like
Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, like, epic vistas and like one-shot takes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, they are nice and they're impressive, but I think the mark of a cinematographer, a great cinematographer, is someone who can, not someone who can make a beach look beautiful. It's someone who can make a dingy room look beautiful.
Yeah.
And everything in this film looks amazing.
Yes.
And most of it is just them in like dark rooms.
Yeah.
Programming and like
badly
talking.
lit.
Badly lit, yeah.
Fluorescent lighting.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a natural soft spot for social outcast characters. I always have. I love those kinds of characters.
Yeah.
Eisenberg will never do anything better, I don't think.
Nope.
I think he peaked with The Social Network.
Yeah, I mean, he had so much potential, and I think it's a shame.
Yeah.
Because even films like The Double, which, it's a bit kooky, it's a bit...
Yeah.
It's Richard Ayoade. I think he could have been, even then, he could have been better in that. I'm not going to talk about turning a superhero franchise. But yeah, again, it's the same kind of thing for me, perhaps maybe with Miles Teller. It's brilliant. What the fuck else is going on?
Yeah, I mean, I would put it down to a good director and a good script, and that is obviously part of it. But there's a moment in the film, this is just occurring to me, when they have I think Mark Kermode calls it the chubby moment. And that's the moment in a biopic where the thing that makes them famous first presents itself. And it's the moment where he's in class and his friend says to him, Mark, Stephanie blah blah in your class, do you know if she's dating anyone, looking to date anyone? And he kind of goes, people don't just walk around with a sign on them that says, dramatic pause, runs off to finalize the Facebook thing, which is interest, dating, that sort of thing. And after he's done that, Eduardo is there and he kind of goes, right, let's go and celebrate. And Mark is just doing this weird, like, he's rocking back and forth and he's got this weird expression on his face. I was like, what is that? And it's like a moment of sort of, like he's praying almost.
Okay.
And it's such a weird little beat. Like, that's a character beat. So that's an acting beat, surely.
Yeah.
Of him just kind of doing this weird, rocking back and forth. It's obviously like a case study of perfectionism in a director.
Yes.
Fincher's obviously, he's renowned for doing infinite takes.
Yeah.
But like, the opening scene, which is essentially a 10-page dialogue scene, I think they did 99 takes for it. And I kind of love the trolley spirit of that. It's like, I think everyone, by the end of it, was like, well, let's just do one more.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we got what we needed.
Yeah.
It's like, it's such a dick thing to do in a way.
Yes, it is.
But like, I think that was in like the golden age of DVDs as well. So there were loads of extra.
Is there like a whole documentary on the DVD?
Yeah, exactly. About the making of it.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first time I saw a director that was that perfectionist.
Yes.
And deliberate. And that was a big kind of inspirational thing.
And sort of
for me.
sure of himself to, like, when someone suggests something, for him to just go, no, I don't like that.
Yeah, there's, they're doing a script reading.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like one line.
Yeah.
And Justin Timberlake is like, oh, what if it's this? And the water underneath the Golden Gate is freezing cold. And he goes, no, I don't like that. He just says it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, we've been in situations where we've had to like direct or that sort of thing. And you always kind of pussyfoot around having to just tell them to do a thing.
Yeah, you're always thinking of like, well, I can't say no. So how do I sort of...
You kind of go, oh, maybe try this.
Yeah.
And it's your way of saying do it, you know?
Yeah.
And just to have him go, nah, don't like that.
Yeah.
It's just so honest, you know? The film...
Just imagine being in that... Because, again, on that DVD, you see, like, Fincher and Sorkin in the room with Jesse Eisenberg and I think maybe a couple of other people.
Yeah.
And they're just, like, going, like, word by word through the script and, like, refining it so that it's like... And just imagine being in that room.
Yeah, yeah.
Just, like, just imagine.
I know,
yeah. I
would pay, you know, like a lot of money to go sit in one of those rooms.
Yeah.
And there's, like, when he's directing, and I think he's directing a delivery of a line of dialogue.
Yeah.
And it takes him about 2 minutes to direct, like, maybe you're thinking this, but also you're thinking this, and also you're thinking, fuck you.
Just the detail, just how much they, like, put behind a single line.
It's mad, you know, and, like, you aspire to...
Especially in the Sorkin script, where that line of dialogue goes by so quickly. The fact that they're giving it so much attention, it's really a...
And I think that we're talking about the perfect blend, because, like, Sorkin, we both know, can be smart ass.
Yes.
And when writers are sometimes allowed complete autonomy, like the West Wing is great, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The Newsroom is pure Sorkin.
Yeah.
And pure Sorkin is not a good thing, I don't think.
Okay.
It's too much. It's too grandstandy. It's too Aaron Sorkin.
Well, you'll have to tell me, because I haven't seen Molly's Game, but that was his directorial debut.
Yeah.
So that was pure Sorkin.
It was.
No one curbing him.
It's not as... It can't be... It couldn't be as grandstandy as the Newsroom because the subject matter wasn't... was different. But yeah, it's certainly weaker than anything else he's done, I would say.
Okay, all right.
Great writers need great directors. Very quickly, when Charlie Kaufman, his directorial debut was Synecdoche, New York, pure Charlie Kaufman, and that is very, very impenetrable.
Okay.
Like, you've really got to be of a certain mind to like that film.
Yeah.
You need a Michel Gondry to get an Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yes.
You need both influences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he can, like I say, he can be smart ass, but this is just smart. It strikes. There's no moments you go, oh, Sorkin, trying to show how clever you are. There's none of that. My one minor critique is that he reuses a line from something else. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Which he's done a few times, but I think that's a case of just... he wrote The West Wing basically entirely under the influence of crack cocaine.
Yes.
And I think he's such a that writer.
Yeah.
That it comes out of him so quickly that at some point something's going to repeat itself.
Yeah, exactly.
My only problem with this one is it's such a specific line. It's when he says, with the money I've got, I could buy that club and turn it into my ping pong room. That is a line from something else.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's like, too much.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield is the unsung hero of the film. I think it's a criminal that he didn't get an Oscar nomination.
Yep.
The film only improves over time for me, which very few films do.
Yes.
most films when I go back to them, it's like, I don't know what I was thinking the first time I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But The Social Network just gets better and better every time I see it. I think the thing that we are particularly a fan of is it does scenes in clubs correctly.
Yes, which is something that Fincher has carried forward into other stuff.
Explain that?
Well, I think that's another thing that people bring up a lot. Maybe not necessarily when talking about the film, just when talking about this specific gripe with cinema.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know exactly what we're talking about, Eddie. When people are like in a loud environment, i.e. a nightclub, and the characters are just kind of talking at the same level we're talking now. It's like, no, you wouldn't be able to hear. So they get around that by the characters just shout their dialogue.
Yeah.
And even though they're shouting their dialogue, the sound mixing is done in a way where you can still barely hear them.
Yeah.
The music is kind of as loud as the dialogue, so you're catching like a word here and there.
Well,
Mindhunter does it as well, but what it does is that it subtitles them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the music is just louder than they are, which is another.
Yeah, it's kind of appropriate to the setting because in Mindhunter they're at a gig.
Yes.
And they're playing like I think it's like punk rock or something like that.
Something like that.
It's really and they're there in a small bar.
Yeah.
You wouldn't hear. Whereas in The Social Network, they're in a club.
They're kind of like on the upper floors.
They're kind of far enough away that you can hear them if they're shouting.
Yeah.
You don't need the subtitles, whereas you would do in...
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the In-Betweeners movie, they have the scene in the nightclub with Jay and Neil.
Yeah.
And that the way they did it was they focused in on the two of them. So I think the idea is that they can hear each other because they're that close.
Yeah.
But it is one of the issues I have is you'd still have to shout.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's just the two of them and they're right next to each other. If you've been in a nightclub, you know how difficult it is to talk to one another.
You're shouting into the ear of the person you're standing next to.
I would say even in nightclubs like where we've gone, where the music isn't necessarily the loudest nightclub in the world.
For the first couple of hours, like the music is quieter, and then they'll like turn it up when everyone's had a few.
But even when it's quieter, I would still argue that we talk probably at quite a normal level.
Yeah.
But realistically, in order to hit everything I think we're saying, you'd have to shout.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's a product of most filmmakers just don't think about that sort of thing, and it's just another example of Fincher's like attention to detail.
Yeah.
Or whether it's because think of being on set and you're in this completely quiet environment and you're shouting at a person that's like a couple of feet away from you, you would just feel ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether directors would think that would come across in the performance, but because they've rehearsed it as much as they can, it's second nature. So it's like, okay, we can, make you shout because you're not going to show how silly you feel.
Yeah, very quickly, I think it's Jesse Eisenberg that talks about doing that many takes.
Yeah.
Is when you first start to deliver them, it's like it's organic.
Yeah.
Because you're not that familiar with them, so it's like you're just coming up with it.
Yeah.
Then you get so familiar with it that it's like just reading a book, and then it turns back on itself. And when you become even more familiar with it, it becomes organic again. It's kind of a weird. It's like a joke that goes on too long.
Yeah,
it becomes funny again.
Exactly, and that's the benefit, isn't it, of doing it right as well. Is that you're delivering the line so much that you're not even thinking about the delivery.
Yeah,
anymore.
and that's why Fincher is such a proponent of digital film because you can just do as many takes as you want.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I was gonna say,
God, imagine how long it'd take them to film this if it was done on film.
Oh yeah.
Jeez. Yeah.
Being in that
miles of film,
watching the dailies to the Social Network when it's like a fucking nightmare.
But I was like with the one thing I would be interested of, because what you find most of the time is that nightclub scenes aren't shot. Either they're not shot with music.
Yeah.
Or they're shot with music that's quiet.
Yes.
Yeah.
So people can dance to it in the background.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I would be interested to know with the Social Network is whether they've got music on loud or not, because I don't have any idea.
Yeah.
Is whether they've got music on that's fairly loud and that's what helped. Because otherwise, as actors, they're just shouting at each other.
Yeah.
I think they're playing music because it's like a massive nightclub filled with people dancing. I think they are playing music.
I don't know. I imagine I did a couple of weeks work experience at the BBC when they were filming A Midsummer Night's Dream, like the TV movie that came out in 2016. And there's a scene where Matt Lucas is kind of wandering through the forest singing a song, and what they would do is they would play like a couple of bars of the song at the beginning of the take for him to like get the rhythm down, and then the rest of it was in silence. But obviously, when the show comes about, there's music over the top of him. So it might just be that. It's like, okay, we'll play the music for like 10 seconds, you figure out the beat, and then we're in complete silence,
Yeah. I will say, like, harking back to the In-Betweeners, they shot it with music on low.
Yeah.
So like my issue with that is you might think you're talking loud, but unless you've got music playing loudly in the background, I don't see how you can get it across right, even if you're brilliant at acting or whatever.
Yeah. There are loads of interest. Obviously, I think there are loads of interesting things about this film.
Oh, of course, yes.
One of them is, I think, partly because of the unreliable narrator thing and because of Mark's disposition.
Yeah.
You never really know what is driving him. You never quite fully...
No.
Other than initially anger, that he then comes to regret. And obviously the bookend to the film is she breaks up with him, and at the very end he adds her as a friend and just sits there refreshing the page
waiting for her to accept.
As it tells us, he's the youngest billionaire in the world.
Yeah.
I know. But you're never quite sure where he's mentally at.
Well, he is a bit of an enigma anyway, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, there's those memes about him being a lizard person, like he's not even human. But I do wonder how much because you forget, at least I forget when I'm watching the film, that this is a real life person.
Yeah.
And this is sort of a facsimile of a real life.
Yeah, I think to be fair, they said this is a character.
Yeah, because obviously Jesse Eisenberg, they don't even attempt to make him look like Mark Zuckerberg.
No.
I don't think any of them look like the real people.
Yeah.
But I do wonder how much influence they took from the real Mark Zuckerberg, or whether they just saw the story of Facebook and were let's tell a story using that,
Well, it's based on a book called The Accidental Billionaires by a guy called Ben Mesrick. Eduardo Saverin now lives off the grid. No one really knows where he lives.
Yeah.
After his settlement, because obviously he won that trial.
An undisclosed amount, right?
An undisclosed amount.
Yeah.
Which I would say, to be fair,
which is probably, let's be honest,
it was inevitable he was going to get money out of him one way.
Yeah, and let's be honest, it's probably enough for him and his children to live off. The next generation for people to live off as well.
The thing I love about it is a film about people in rooms talking. There are no fireworks ever. The closest it gets to being explosive is that scene with Eduardo and Mark at the very end.
Yes, and there's the scene, which again I think is something that's brought up. It's been brought up in reviews I've seen. I think Commode brings it up. Yeah, but there's the scene where it's the twins rowing, and we see the rowing race, and it's the one scene that doesn't take place in a room.
Yeah,
and it's been theorized that that's just so that we can get out of the rooms for a moment.
But it's not.
No,
that scene is about the twins almost winning again and just being beaten.
Oh, okay. All right.
And that being, right, fuck it, we'll sue him. We'll take this to court.
Yeah.
Because the one's reticent about it, isn't he?
Yeah.
But little details so it comes up in the litigation process that Eduardo, as part of an initiation, had to look after a chicken for a week.
Yes.
And he fed it chicken, kind of not really thinking about the cannibalism of it. And
chicken isn't vegan?
And it all comes together.
Yeah.
And it was written about in the Harvard, the Crimson, which is the Harvard paper. And he accuses Mark of planting the story. And you never know whether that's true or not.
Oh, yeah.
It's completely he might, I don't know. Yeah. He might have done. Things like that. And then little details in that opening scene with Erica, she says that she likes guys who row crew. I like the idea of them. And then when he meets the Winklevoss twins, he says, "Oh, you look like you go to the gym a lot." They go, "We row crew," and he goes, "Yeah, I'm interested in your project."
Yeah.
And because of the way the film is framed, you get to thinking.
That's the moment where he decides he's going to take their idea.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's just little details like that. And just a very small note. The scene where there's some sort of fraternity party, like the Jewish fraternity.
Yes.
And Mark goes, and it's a shitty little affair, and they got the DJ, and they're playing Hawaiian music, and they've got the image of the Niagara Falls on a loop in the background.
Yeah.
And I just so relate to the pedantic thing of he walks in, he goes, "Let's talk outside." He's like, "Why?" He said, "I can't listen to Hawaiian music being played while they've got a loop of the Niagara Falls. There's absolutely nothing to do with this kind of music. Let's go outside." And I so relate to that. Because Retros, the home of the 90s vibe.
Yes.
First time I went there, they were playing a song from 2003.
Yes.
I can't go here.
Yeah.
There's not enough that I can say about.
Exactly. Yeah. Same problem with me.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's
perfect.
It is very good. And I will say this is the one film where I was genuinely disappointed I couldn't find a place for it on my list. I think it's probably my 11th.
Right.
It was so close to making it.
Yeah. What about you, Eddie? What are your thoughts on The Social Network?
My thoughts are, it is a brilliant film, but...
Ooh, drama!
This is just because I slagged off Midnight Paris.
As much as I love Midnight Paris, no.
Okay.
No, I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what it is.
Yeah.
That is like my. I gave you that trick. You do not throw that at me. No, but that's what I mean. Like, it's a brilliant film. I agree with all the points out.
Get to the butt.
But I don't know. It's just not there for me.
Okay.
Whether it's not the kind of film for me.
Right.
I think I have a similar relationship with like the Steve Jobs film. Obviously, that's not as good a film in any way, but the films interest me.
Right.
But I treat them. Whereas you kind of talk about like them being like characters. For me, I see it as this is telling me the story of this person and this, and I don't necessarily completely go in for that.
Okay.
So I think that's more where it stands for me.
Yeah. Are you saying that you feel distant from the social network?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a feature of the film, isn't it? It's a very cold, almost like...
Well, again, I mentioned that I have a soft spot for those kinds of characters. And there's that image that I think is like the defining image of the film, which I will ask you to use as your...
I'll try.
It's when they've reached a new milestone, and they're all celebrating inside, and he's standing outside, and they pop the champagne that goes all over the window, and it's just him outside through the glass, like looking at them, like fond of what he's accomplished, but just like can't quite get there, you know?
Okay.
I completely agree. Like, I think Andrew Garfield is brilliant in it. Yeah. I don't like Justin Timberlake in it.
Okay.
I
in the way the film doesn't want you to like him, or you dislike the performance, if you know what I mean.
I would say whichever one it like hits, because it realistically that could be either. It could be that I just don't like the character as it comes across.
Because he is a prick.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, utterly a prick.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I just don't particularly like him in this.
Okay.
Like I talked about it a little bit with like Inside Llewyn Davis. I like him in that.
Okay.
I don't think Justin Timberlake is the best actor in the world.
He's not.
So I think, you know, it's kind of been a
okay.
You know, so I don't particularly like him. So it might be that. But as you say, he's a prick. You're not supposed to like him.
You know, and there are two little moments for his character that make me like the writing again, but the performance as well. When he's at the party with all the underage kids, and they're doing coke, and then the police come in and they're asking him, you know, he's got coke in his hand. He's like, "That's not mine." And then they're searching him, and he has like an asthma pump and an EpiPen.
Yeah,
and it's just like it's shattering this image of this guy.
Yeah,
and then when in the climactic scene where Eduardo finds out that he's been kicked out of his own company, basically, he pretends that he's going to punch him. And I remember this is in the kind of extra feature stuff. Fincher directs him. He says, like, overreact ridiculously, and we'll calibrate it.
Okay.
So like he goes to hit him, and he flinches like so much.
Yeah, he flies away.
Yeah. You know? He's all talk, you know. What I mean? So yeah, I get what you're saying. I kind of hate him as well.
Yeah,
yeah.
Other than that, as I say, I think it's a brilliant film, and I think maybe it's not for me.
Okay, I'll repeat my refrain that I think will become a catchphrase for this podcast. All opinions, correct and incorrect, are welcome.
Which means you don't agree with my opinion in the slightest, as I have said before.
No, I sympathise a bit, because there are definitely films I have that. I would say Taxi Driver is one of those films for me where I don't...
You can't get there.
Yeah, I can't get there, but I do not dispute its quality for a second.
You admire the fuck out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, you might be wrong. I don't know.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, as I say, there is no reason why I shouldn't be like head over heels with this film.
No, I think there's an X factor with films, isn't there? And you can say I acknowledge that on every level, production wise, this is a quality film.
Yeah.
But your favourite films, we can talk all day about objectively what is the best film. You said you're kind of a prisoner of subjectivity.
Yeah.
This is what this list is.
Yeah.
And I think your favourite films are films that you kind of feel at home when you're watching. And you can't rationalise or intellectualise them.
Yeah, completely.
And I think partly because of the time when I saw The Social Network, you know, that's why I feel at home watching it.
Yeah.
Because I've known it for a long time, you know?
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, you can't account anything to that. You can't.
No,
you know.
not at all. Yeah.
So that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I can't disagree with an opinion or a feeling, even if a feeling is wrong.
Yeah, other than that, I don't particularly have anything else to add.
Did we do it?
I think we did it.
We do it, fellas.
We've got a recap now.
Okay. So for those who couldn't be bothered to listen to the however long this has been.
I can finally get rid of this fucking interminable document.
I just had this like several page document that you've been
Notes.
reading from, constantly.
Okay.
Okay, who
Are we doing it in the order we counted down in, or?
Yeah, I think it's best if we do it as one.
or do we all say our films in unison?
I think that's a bit silly.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
So I'm going to recap that.
Okay.
So my top 10 of the decade
Yes.
was Birdman, Nocturnal Animals, Spotlight, Inside Out, Django Unchained, Nightcrawler, Inside Llewyn Davis, Midnight in Paris, Sing Street, and then Whiplash.
My top 10 of the decade were The Raid, The Lego Movie, Sicario, Nightcrawler, Mad Max Fury Road, Parasite, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Whiplash, Bad Genius, and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
And my top 10 of the decade were Skyfall, Calvary, Her, Parasite, Whiplash, Tyrannosaur, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Spotlight, The Master, and The Social Network.
Yeah.
Watch them. Or don't. It's up to you, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having now had the time, we've gone over this, we've spent time, this has taken us however many days and hours to record.
Thousands of man hours.
Yeah.
No woman hours, though. Not on this podcast.
The array of technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Keeping that out.
Um,
I just process what you said. Like, oh, no.
Is there any film that you would necessarily change?
Parasite is untethered at the moment. It's certainly not going to sink,
No.
but it could bob to the surface more. I've exhausted that metaphor. It's definitely not where it was. It's at least fifth.
Yeah.
But my top 5, 6, I think in 10, 15 years, they're still going to be in my top 10 of the decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bottom 3, I will allow for like some change.
Yeah.
But I'm essentially happy with my list.
But
yeah.
Yeah, The Social Network, as I said, would be my number 11.
Yeah.
Strong competitor for number 10.
Yeah.
And The Raid 2 and The Raid were slightly interchangeable for me, but go all the way back to our discussion of The Raid. I sort of explained why The Raid ended up in my 10th instead of The Raid 2. Other than that, I'm fairly happy with my list.
Yeah. My 10th spot is the only one possibly in contention.
Okay.
In the following...
Our poor 10th spots. You got no love for them anymore. Because you introduced Birdman as like, oh, I don't really like it anymore. Or like, oh, it's gone down for me.
Because it's gone... It has gone down. But this is the thing. This is not an instance where Birdman has gone down.
Yeah.
This is an instance of, we had a discussion about the film Her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just rolling around in my mind.
Oh, okay.
It hasn't left my mind since that discussion.
Social network.
Shut
But when
up.
you listen back to this podcast, they'll subliminally inform you. Social network. Carry on.
No, don't carry on, because I can cut it out then. I was talking over it.
Go on. I can see what you're going to do.
He's at the ready.
Prepping for a whisper.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like that's the only... It's the only thing possibly to interchange.
Okay.
But I do have a lot of love for Birdman.
Yeah.
Even though it's gone down the list. And as I say, for me, Parasite was just too fresh.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yes.
Other than that, no, I'm 100% happy.
Okay.
Okay.
Social network. Thank you for sticking with us.
Yeah, thanks for letting us... I know is it 3 males audibly indulge? Is that our slogan? But we really indulged this time.
I would say, that's never been truer.
Yes.
No.
But yes, thank you. And thank you for sticking through, because this was all brand new equipment.
Yes.
We've broken this up into several parts, and I know the sound mixing and stuff has kind of changed through... So
it's
thank
a marathon.
you for sticking...
It's a marathon, not a sprint. I think that's a lesson for this podcast and our general podcasting trajectory.
Hopefully, we're finding
our feet.
Yes,
yeah.
But thank you for sticking through this experimentation period, equipment-wise.
And anyone that has legitimately listened all the way through up until this point,
well done.
Get yourself a fucking biscuit, you cunt.
Yeah.
Well, just a thank you. I think.
Yeah, no, genuinely. Yeah, thank you for indulging us.
Because whether it equates to the amount of hours when it comes out, I know we will have we'll have chopped and changed bits here and there.
Mm.
I think this sits at about 11 hours worth of audio in total.
Yeah, I like to think of this as selling children on the black market, by which I mean...
Go on.
Usually, I'm all about killing your darlings.
Yes.
I've become quite mercenary in that sense.
Yeah.
But if your job is to sell your darlings, then you have to indulge it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so we're doing our top 10 films of the decade. We talk about films a lot. It's clearly the kind of people we are.
Yeah.
We owed it to the films to give them as much time as we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I hope that there's at least one film in here that someone might not have heard of or might not have given a chance that they'll now go back to and say, oh, do you know what? Those Funfiltered folk, they were spot on.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's funny. Like, I was trying to, as you said that, I was trying to think of what film it would be that I would be like, I really hope.
Right.
And actually, I have the two that come to mind are both on Jordan's list.
Parasite and Bad Genius.
Parasite and Bad Genius.
Yeah. Parasite's on my list.
Yeah, but my point was they were both on his.
I see. Yes. All right, you wins. Jordan wins the podcast.
And I think Whiplash won the decade, didn't it? It was the only one on everyone's
list. Only one
list.
on 3.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to do it that way. I don't think that kind of maths that kind of maths works out necessarily, but
no,
Social Network.
I did the math. It does.
You did the maths.
Did
British.
The maths. Okay, my mistake.
No, it's not. I think it's counter. It doesn't matter. I think it's intuitive, but
basically, you want it to be the Social Network, and you want us to shut up.
No, never mind. Okay. I think no.
Shall we relieve the audience for the time being?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you soon
for our catch-up episode.
Yes, we've spent all this time talking about the decade. Now we're going to have to talk about the end of 2019.
Everything between Christmas and now, basically. Which is, what's the date? 25th to the day.
Oh shit! Yeah, exactly a month.
There you go. All right. See you in the next one, cunts.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.